What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, the podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Antony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. It is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the college football podcast, the All-Star Review. And as the name entitles, we are in the middle of All-Star game season right now. The two big ones have just been played out last week over the past couple of weeks. The Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl. We broke down the rosters on the way up to them last week. We had a little bit of a chat about what was going on about the Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, some of the practices. Now the games have taken place, so we are going to be doing our final reviews of both of those games. Obviously, go through whatever else happened in practice, the games, and who are the winners, who are the losers heading into what is now going to be combine season very soon. We were planning this week on doing the HBCU Bowl Legacy stuff. We've not been able to sort the time out with Gerald just yet, so that is on hold. But it's not till 2 weeks anyhow, so maybe it'll be better to do it a little bit closer time. But that show is still planned to happen. We just need to make time there. So we thought we'll, for this week at least, for now, just get in the building and talk about the Senior Shrine Bowl, get all that done. But before we go any further, I'll bring in Rai. Rai, how are you doing? We're already quite far through the process now of the draft. We're already through the All-Star games. Now we've got the Combine coming up next. And after the Combine, it's Pro Days. After the Pro Days, it's draft time, baby.
Yep, I imagine the invites are already being drafted for the combine. They'll be getting the letters ready to go out, and then we'll be getting the schedules soon for what schools are going to be holding pro days on which dates. So we're firmly in the territory of you're even in first round conversation, or you're coming up to your last chance to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. It can mean a lot, especially if you're a small school guy, especially, these Division Two, Division Three guys. And hopefully I'm hoping the combine, I know the problem we've had in the previous few years is the guys at the bottom of the pecking order don't get the chances, and then a lot at the top just choose to go to the combine and do medicals and that's it. And kind of waste a spot there for some of these guys who could really do with it. So I'm hoping the combine is a bit more yeah, a bit more opportunistic for the small guys this year. And of course, as the combine is approaching, we will go through that, let you know the invite list, players going, who can benefit most from it, all that good stuff as well. Let's just get all the housekeeping bits out of the way and then we'll dive down into this. Discord, if you want in, let us know. We'll send you a link. Main podcast, we had our awards show the previous Monday. If you've not seen it already, do go check it out. We handed out all our awards for the Detroit Lions 2024 season. All good fun. Had a good laugh with that. Everybody was on as well. So yeah, go check that out if you've not done so already. Don't forget to like and sub to everything, Twitch, YouTube, all that good sort of stuff. We really appreciate the support that you guys give us out there. Honestly, we can't say it enough. When it means a lot to us, we actually do really mean that. Don't forget, we're part of Lions Nation Unite as well, Herman Moore's project to bring together a whole host of Detroit Lions content creators into one forum to talk anything and everything Detroit Lions. You'll notice a video went up from me recently talking about the staffing changes, etc. There's a lot of content coming out, so if you like it, do follow us on that as well. And we're affiliated on Twitch, monetized on YouTube, got a tip jar, all that stuff. If you want to help that way, great. But we just love talking ball with you first and foremost. That's all we really want to do on this thing. We got the feedback form as well. So any comments on the show, just put it in there. Let us know. We shall take that on board. And if you have any questions during the evening, just let us know. As always, we'll answer as we go. I kind of really arranged this last minute because I was prepping for Gerald this week, but yeah, so you know the drill. Let's just see who's in the building first. Mike the Marine's in. Hope you are doing well. Mike is saying howdy to all the Lions faithful. Hope you're well. Mile Marker is in the building as well. Brent is in the building. Hope you are all well. Yeah, he'll be coming on, Mile Marker. He's just incredibly busy, so trying to set out a time is a pain in the neck, but he's going to do it. We always do it this time of year, so we are all good. Right. A bit of news quickly to go through first before we go into the Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl stuff. We had a couple of coaching extensions this week, right? One more so than the other is a pretty big one, and one that Michigan fans probably gonna like, even though they won a natty this year. Ryan Day has extended his stay at Ohio State. He is going to be there now for the next 7 years, and one would think in that 7 years he wants to try and beat Michigan at least once and reverse that 0-4 record. But details are a little sketchy on this, but overall, the makeup of his deal, he's going to be walking away with about 12.5 million per year. And to put that into context, Ben Johnson's massive contract he just signed with the Chicago Bears is 13 million a year. I believe this puts him, he'd be a top 10 coach in the NFL in terms of what he's earning at Ohio State, but he's won a natty. He's earned it. He's going to be untouchable there for a while now. And Ryan Day, from maybe the brink of losing his job, now going to be there for a long time to come.
Yep, he's definitely coming out of this smelling of roses. I thought he bought himself a little bit more time making the deep playoff run, and then, like I say, winning that. I thought it will keep the Wolves at bay a little bit longer. Like I say, he's reached the pinnacle right now. I wouldn't have rewarded him with such a lavish contract, but they obviously feel like now he's got that kind of monkey off his back that now the pressure's off him a little bit. Maybe like say they've been trying too hard and now they can kind of relax. They've been there now, like say all about the defense of the title. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Like it's a large contract. He's now a high earner, but in their eyes, he's deserved it for also the talent he's nurtured as well in recent years. I suppose he gets to take a large mantle on that. But yeah, like I say, interesting addition. Like I say, staff's had a little bit of rework that I'm a big fan of as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite an interesting season.
You're right. They've lost both their coordinators. I don't think we ever mentioned it on here, but Penn State somehow managed to snatch Jim Knowles away from them, the defensive coordinator. They've made him very highly paid, which is probably why. But yeah, the DC's at Penn State. Chip Lindsey's come to the NFL, right? I think he got an NFL job, didn't he? That's why he's come out.
Yeah,
And then obviously the second bit of news to this is they're promoting Brian Hartline to offensive coordinator, their wide receivers coach. I really, 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 really wanted him for the Lions.
I would have gone for passing
And
game coordinator. I would have tried to get him.
yeah, I really, really wanted him for the Lions, but obviously he's going to be in the NFL in a couple of years. He says he wants in the NFL, so he's one. Brian Hartling, you're certainly going to keep an eye on him, and it's a very richly rewarded thing for him. His receivers are the best coached in college football, probably. But they come into the NFL and they don't look like rookies; they look like seasoned pros. So a lot of change at Ohio State, but Ryan Day is now there for another 7 years. He's got Hartline as his OC. Going to be fun times to see and let the rivalry with Michigan continue. See if they can bounce back this year. And I've lost him very briefly. I will carry on. The other hire with the other. Sorry, is he coming back in? Yes, the other contract that has been divvied out, Clay Helton has got a new deal with the Georgia Southern Eagles. For those who remember, obviously he was head coach at USC about 3 or 4 years ago, really, when we started this pod, got fired really early into the season. He's been with Georgia Southern since 2022. Been slow process there for him. Went 6-7 in his first 2 years, 3-5 in the Sun Belt. But last year they started turning it round. They went 8-5. They were 6-2 in the Sun Belt. They finished second in the Sun Belt East. He's lost 3 bowl games in a row. However, he's got that team heading in the right direction. Their offense is always quite fearsome. Their defense is getting better. And slowly but surely, Ryan, Clay Helton is rebuilding his image after the unceremonious firing from USC. But you want to see them been players in the Sun Belt for the years to come now. Obviously, it's a very competitive conference, but he's just built them under the radar. And it seems now they feel they're ready to go make a push and win the thing, and they believe it's with him. They've rewarded him. It's a job well done.
Yeah, I was very skeptical about the hire in the first place. I thought it was a name they probably should have avoided, someone a bit too high profile. I didn't overly trust him, but yeah, he's steadied the ship. He's getting to start to turn a corner. He now wants to build more of a consistent team than, like, say, a flash in the pan. He wants to keep them in and around the top upper echelons of the Sun Belt for years to come. Like I say, the talent's improving. They're doing better in the portal. They're getting better with guys that are making more of an impact in these bowls and the draft. So yeah, I'd say it's a well deserved. Like I say, he was kind of at a limbo, a bit of a crossroads. It felt like in his career, he decided to gamble, take a step down here, and he's been rewarded for that. And it looks like maybe now he's finally found a home where he can create a long-term systemic path for guys to make it as pros.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to seeing what they can do next year under him and his new deal. Bit of coaching stuff. Ron Rivera's heading back into college football. He's going to take, I believe, some form of a GM position with Cal, and they've now said with obviously Bill filtering back down into the system, been at UNC, this is now going to have sort of a brain drain where some of these older guys want to go back and contribute into college. Cal was a they had a rough year in the ACC, but as we've seen in the All-Star games, they got a ton of talent on that team, and with a guy like him in there helping them recruit, build forward, that feels like a really smart hire. Bringing Ron Rivera in, he's always very respected. He's got a lot of gravitas behind him. He'll pull in some good recruits there. That Cal program is on the verge of being good, and that does feel like a good hire for them.
Yeah, he's someone that he's been, like I said, since leaving the NFL, he's kind of felt like he's been in and around interviews, garnered interest. Obviously, where he stepped away for health issues, he now feels like personally he's right and he's ready for him to come back. And as you say, plenty of draft talent. The Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl, loads of players there. They've done really well. And they're not like a sum of their parts. Like I said, they came so close to winning so many games, fell short in so many of them. But not because they're bad, it's because their situational play was it was lacking. They were found wanting at the crucial moments, not for a lack of talent. And if you can help nurture that, it's a team, yeah, that can quickly turn it around, and a large number of wins could come next year if they do get better in those crucial downs and those late moments.
And the one score games, they did really bad in the one score games this year. So just little bits that get you over. But yeah, it's going to be good to see Ron Rivera at Cal. I have a soft spot for them. I hope they're able to do that forward. And then just the last little bit of news we're going to go over. Obviously we do this in preseason and everything, but the initial Heisman odds have been released for next year. Just quickly want to pass comment on them. So Garrett Nussmeier, LSU quarterback, he's currently the odds-on favorite to win it. He's plus 800. And you got Arch Manning, who's obviously going to be taking over at Texas. He's just behind at plus 900. Got Cade Klubnik, the Clemson QB, he's at plus 1,000. Then you've got a two-way tie between Dante Moore and Jeremiah Smith. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith, the wide receiver, sensation from Ohio State, and Dante Moore, who's going to be taking over at Oregon. I think he's still at Oregon
Yeah,
now as quarterback. And then fifth is Nico Iamaleava from Tennessee. He's plus 1,400 there. Now, I know this is miles into the future. A lot of stuff is going to happen. You surprised Nussmeier is the favorite for next year? Is there someone else you'd have in there? I know there's a certain Arizona-based QB you'd be having in this conversation, but what did you reckon of him?
it doesn't surprise me. I'm really not sold on is Dante Moore. Like I say, it's already his second school. He's seen literally no field, barely even in relief. He's barely even had like third, fourth quarters. Like Gabriel kind of took everything. Like I say, whereas at least Arch got some of those from Quinn Ewers, and obviously injuries had to fill in. So I get that. But Dante, five-star QB, but he's a total unknown entity. So you're kind of just going off the school and the weapons. That's what he's done for other players. Like I say, there is no real case to be made for him, even to be in the conversation for me. Honestly, I think Jeremiah Smith for me is probably number one. I think I'd have Jeremiah Smith. I'd have Ryan Williams. Yeah, Garrett, I agree. Like I say, okay, LSU's not had the success, but he's played extremely well, and he's had a stellar cast of receivers. And like I say, they've brought in more again this year. They've hit the portal hard, so you can't complain about the lack of talent around him. And yeah, Arch, obviously everyone thinks he's the next generational talent. Also another very talented room there, so I kind of understand that.
Yeah, I think it's time for a non-QB to win it. It feels like next year might be the best chance we've got of that of some time. So hopefully so.
I,
Obviously, there's
I can't
there's
see a running back being in the conversation this year. I just look at it and I
oh
just don't
God.
see the I don't see the big name, the flashy big name this year.
Yeah, but there's going to be like 30 running backs in this draft. Like the drain in college football from the running back position is going to be more profound than it's ever been in history. Like a lot of the names, when we do the previews for teams next year, a lot of the running backs you'll never have heard of before because everybody is replenishing. But oh man, this is going to be fun. This draft is going to be absolutely fun for running backs. And we'll obviously go that in the course. Right, let's push on. There's a little bits of news we wanted to chat about. So we're going to dive down into the two games first. We're going to start with the Shrine Bowl. Um, Obviously, we chatted about practices last week. Some very good showings from the FCS guys, the lower level guys, the Division 2 and 3 guys in there as well. Um, and then obviously the game happened about 3 hours after we finished our show last week. Stayed up till 4 in the morning to watch that. And you know what? In terms of All-Star games and how they've been in the past, they're actually pretty good. Both the Senior and the Shrine Bowl were pretty damn good this year. So I'm going to quickly go through the Shrine Bowl first, the game, and then we'll finish off like the weeks of who's done best and that. Now, I'm really just sort of going to go through the first half of this one, um, because this thing ended 25 to nothing. A pitch out was shut by the East, who absolutely, this is obviously the East and West team, um, yeah, who contend this. The East won 25 to nothing. But just to tell you what kind of game this was, there were 15 drives in the first half alone. So the East won the toss for this one. They deferred, so the West got the ball first, and initially things looked really good for them. LeJohntay Wester got the kick return. He returned it from the 10 to the 37. Really good return from him, but then a penalty put it all the way back to the 9. Brady Cook started at quarterback for the West. Taj Brooks got a little run for 6. Then there were two big completions. One to the tight end Jalen Connors out of Texas Tech, out the slot. Really nice pass just in front of a defender who nearly picked the thing off. And then there was a great 20-yard outside shoulder fade to Will Shepherd. A really good catch from him under serious pressure. That was for 20 yards. So 39 yards into completions, and then the drive just absolutely stalled out. The third down was a great pass breakup from the UTSA cornerback Czar Francis on Will Shepherd to force the punt there. East's first drive, Efton Chisholm, the East Washington receiver, he got punt return duty. It was only short punt return. They started at the 16. Cam Miller, the North Dakota State quarterback, started for the East. He actually got the entire first half, so he got a lot of time to showcase himself. And Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the Arizona, well, more New Mexico State running back, got the start for this. He had a really good game. He had a carry for 6. The defensive tackle Jordan Phillips got called for holding, which made it a first down. Then Cam Miller nearly got picked off. It was the Cal pair in the DB position. So Noel Williams had a great pass breakup. He tipped it up to Craig Woodson, but on his follow through, he fell and he wiped Woodson out just as he was catching the ball, so it fell to the ground as an incompletion. It's really unfortunate bit, but great work from the two Cal DBs to break that out there. Then penalties. There was a false start from the Georgia Tech tackle Jordan Williams. There was a blindside block from the Oregon State tackle Joshua Gray. Um, and the drive came to an end. It was a really good throw from Cam Miller at the end. Cam Horsley had him, the Boston College DT, under a whole lot of pressure, and I don't know how, but he somehow managed to get a throw out to Rivaldo Fairweather. It ended up miles short, though, of the yards to gain. Then they had to punt. This is where things start getting fun. So the West second, they started at their own 37. Huge sack by Tonka Hemingway, one of the names who's getting talked about more and more out of this draft process. He had this vicious swipe move, which absolutely wrecked the Boston College guard, Jack Conley. He was relentless all the way through to the QB, took him down for about a 10-yard loss. Carter Runyon, the FCS Towson tight end, he managed to get a reception on this drive for 7 yards, but they never got all the yardage back. They lost and they had to punt. And then on the the second drive, Krosky Merritt really came to show. A run for 15, his footwork implicit. There was a pass breakup from Shiloh Sanders on Rivaldo Fairweather, but then Krosky Merritt with another one for 27 yards. The jump cut he had on this was just exquisite. Sprung him out to the perimeter. They got done for holding on this afterwards. Isaiah Neyer, the wide receiver from Nebraska, got pinged for holding. Andrew Henry, the running back from New Mexico, he had a 10-yard gain to make it a 3rd and 1. Then Cam Miller, one of the best passers of the games, under pressure, had about 3 guys chasing him down on 3rd and 1, was able to fire it down the perimeter to Jackson Meeks, the wide receiver from Syracuse, to keep the drive going. Krosky Merritt then got another run for 6, and then he got the touchdown run to the pylon. I don't know who he duped. He broke some poor linebacker's ankles, took it to the perimeter, got the touchdown in there. And in the Shrine Bowl, you're not allowed to kick extra points. You've got to go for 2. Quarterback Cam Miller, it was on a keeper for 2, 8-0 to the East early. I'll just quickly stop this one there, right? But obviously, these games, they can be a bit convoluted. They can be a bit, it takes a while for these guys to settle in. You've got a lot of punts early here, but you see some names start to come up here. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, as we mentioned, this is not the end of his game here, but we mentioned he's got like the best pair of feet of a running back in this draft. And when they gave the ball to him, especially on the 3rd drive, you saw him do that. He really took high advantage here.
Yeah, very talented back. Arizona's dreadful season was a big culmination of not having him. Like I say, he would have definitely helped them. Like I say, it was a huge loss on the year. But yeah, I always look at these All-Star games and it always feels like running backs always get the best chance to dominate because the QBs rotate. A lot of them is handoff. A lot of them don't have that coordination yet. So running backs do manage to get a lot of carries. But yeah, behind the line of scrimmage, the vision was good. The patience, like I say, making guys, like I say, once he got through the line as well, he was sizing guys up very quickly, deciding which way he's going to cut, which way. Like I say, he dropped a few of them. A lot of them were grasping at air, and he looked really good and very composed. And then when he did get out into open space, he was able to put on a little bit of the burners, and then, like I say, run through tackles and carry guys with him. So very impressive drive.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously we're still seeing the emergence of Tonka Hemingway, the South Carolina DT. Great size, great speed. Just,
He's
you know,
relentless. I love him.
the stats don't do his college career justice. People look at it and go, mate, that's average. But you look at him and like the swipe he delivers to that to Jack Conley, the poor guy, just he's out of it and he's through and he takes down the QB for a massive loss. But great from him. But also great to see Cam Miller getting a lot of touches here. They really wanted to see how good he was, but I thought he made some good throws, especially early on. Like I say, the 3rd down one to Jackson Meeks. He's under a lot of pressure, and he's not known for his throwing so much, but you see him, he's calm, he's collected, throw on the money.
Yeah, he's one of those quarterbacks. He throws when it's there. Like I say, he'll very rarely force throws into windows that aren't there. He won't be rushed into bad decisions. Like I say, if pressure comes and it's too much for him, then he'll bail. Or he knows when to just go down and fight another day. So yeah, he was calculated. Like I say, he took the easy throws, the routes, like I say, just what the defense was giving him. Like I say, down the sideline, made some smart decisions. And he's like I say, he's the best part of a dual threat and a game manager. That's what I've always liked about him. He's not a huge risk taker, and he does really good job of just slowly and moving their chains.
Yeah, absolutely, he does. Going on in the half, and this is where the turnovers start. There's quite a lot of them. So Ethan Garbus comes in for the West on their 3rd drive. His very first pass, or his very first play, he double pumps, and this ball is wobbling through the air like crazy. He's targeting Kanata Mumpfield, the Pittsburgh wide receiver. It's about 3 yards too far behind him, and who pops up to pick this thing off? Delaware Fighting Blue Hens cornerback Tyron Herring, who had one hell of a game, who's done his stock no end of good off the end of this. So Ethan Garbus straight in, straight back off the field again, gives it back to the East. And then They get a holding penalty, so they start on 1st and 20. They had a short field before this. A 19-yard pass to Efton Chisholm gets them to a 2nd and 1 situation. It's really good from him. There's a stutter step to get free in the middle of the field to start off with. Then he hurdles a guy to force a missed tackle, made him look a bit stupid there. But they get down to 2nd and 1. They're in the 20. They get turned over on downs. They do not get that 1 yard on the resulting 3 plays, and they passed it on every single play. Some suspect play call in there from the east, which hands it back to the west for their 4th drive, but that lasts about 2 plays. Kansas State safety Marcus Siegel, when I say he levels Caden Priestcorn, the tight end out of Ole Miss, he absolutely levels him with one of the biggest hits you'll ever see. That causes a fumble, and that gets recovered by the defense, and that is 3 turnovers in about 6 plays. That's kind of what these games are about, Ryan. Turnover here, turnover there, turnover everywhere, but it allows these defenders to really pile some stacks and some good plays up in these games. And we talk about these Kansas State guys. Marcus Siegel, like these guys at Kansas State hit hard. I thought Caden Priestcorn was dead after this. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, these games are usually pretty messy. They're usually pretty chaotic. Usually all the QBs are just taking it. A lot of the time, let's say the ball's going back and forth. The offenses really do struggle to settle in throwing the ball. They'll often, like say, the team that runs the ball the best usually wins the game. But yeah, if you're on a defensive back, these games are perfect because a lot of these throws are errant. The quarterbacks don't know the receivers, like say they're overthrowing them, underthrowing them, or they feel obligated to throw. Like say, like double pump, like say don't double clutch. Like say it wasn't going anywhere. The Garbers won. It didn't have the height under it. There was no real air in the ball. It was just kind of a dream, really. Like it's one of those in the season you probably don't throw. You might just take the sack, but you know for a fact at some point you're going to get pulled in this game. So they feel like I've got to get it out. I've got to make plays down the field, and they usually turn it. Like say, yeah, Kane Prescott, who had a long career at Ole Miss, mix of production, but yeah, absolutely destroyed. Like I
Yeah,
say, the SU safety, and like I said, the cornerback as well. That yeah, their secondary's been fairly underrated for the last few years. But yeah, there's one of those plays where you kind of lick your lips. You want him to
absolutely.
catch it because then as soon as he turns and he doesn't know, like I say, he turns upfield and you're there waiting for him. Like there's no way he can do. So yeah,
No,
you just pop him.
yeah, I think it was Francisco Mauigoa who got it back for the defense there, but that gives the East the ball for their 4th drive with a short field. Krosky Merritt again for 12. Then Cam Miller keeps it on a quarterback keeper down to the 1. It is a great recovery tackle from the BYU edge Tyler Batty, who chases him down to bring him down at the 1. Like seriously, you like your edges who have high motors. Like this should have been a touchdown, and he somehow manages to snag him from behind, even though he's a lot heavier. But they're down to the 1 yard line. Krosky Merritt gets the ball for his 2nd touchdown. And then the 2 point play where I nearly lost my mind here. I don't know. It was kind of a busted play. Um, Cam Miller runs to the other side of the field. He throws a cross-field pass to the other side of the field, and it's caught by Thomas Perry, the Division 3 lineman out of Middlebury, and he's about 5 yards away from going in for a touchdown, and he gets tackled. And I let out such a scream when he got it. I'm like, yes, please. And like, he didn't get it. And I think there was a penalty thrown on it anyhow. He may have been an ineligible receiver. I don't know. But it was still fun. But yeah, it's 14-0 to the East at this point. They took advantage. The West's 5th drive. Max Brosmer comes in at quarterback, but he can't do anything to, change the tide. So Tyron Herring, again, the Delaware corner. There's a pass thrown to Blaine Taylor, the Kansas State tight end, who was a late draft in for this game. Again, Tyron Herring comes up to him and lays an absolute thunderous hit on him, which pops the ball straight out of his hands, but he's deemed to have not made a footballing move. So it's an incomplete pass, but it's a really good play from the Delaware cornerback again. Really got to enjoy that. Then Brosma throws slightly behind Taj Brooks for a incomplete pass. And then on 3rd down, Tonka Hemingway, him again, gets his mitt up at the line of scrimmage for a bats the pass down, and it's a quick 3-and-out for the West there. The East come out again. Cam Miller gets a nice throw to Nick Nash for 13, but then more turnovers. There's a botched snap under center recovered by the linebacker Teddy Buchanan out of Cal. Thomas Perry, the Division Three Middlebury guy, he was the center. Cam Miller was the quarterback, kind of more on the center than the quarterback this one, but they give the ball straight back again. The West sixth drive lasts one play. So Max Brosma comes back out. He tries to target Luke Lakey, the Iowa tight end, and he throws it behind him. Obviously, timing issues are big in these all-star games. He throws it behind him. O'Donnell Fortune, the South Carolina cornerback, is waiting there. He snaffles this thing out of the air, and there's nobody between him and the end zone. And he houses this thing for a pick six from about 45 yards out. And just like that, it's 20 to nothing to the East team. Obviously, the offense has to come on for the 2-point conversion. And Cam Miller finds Jacoby Brooks in the end zone. Another lovely pass from him for two. And before anything, it's 22-0 to the East. The West come back out again. They bring back out Brady Cook because he's been the only good quarterback for them at this point. There's a big completion to Antoine Wells, the old Miss wide receiver. Then another pass breakup or a battered pass at the line of scrimmage from Tonka Hemingway after a great bit of pressure from Elijah Ponder, the Cal Poly edge. He had a fantastic game. He just violently destroyed the left tackle with this sort of violent swipe swim move. Gets to Brady Cook. He throws a hurried pass. Tonka Hemingway bats it down. It's a punt there again. And then you sort of get into the end of the half here. The East's on their sixth drive. Cam Miller, another big throw to Rivaldo Fairweather, but then a second fumbled snap, and this time it is on Cam Miller. He's in the gun. He botches the snap, and then Cam Horsley, the D tackle for Boston College, recovers it to get the ball back again. The West's eighth drive lasts one play. Johnny Walker, the edge from Missouri, strip sack from round the edge. And when I tell you, he takes about 5 steps from his stance to the quarterback. The explosion and the speed was crazy. Whoever was at left tackle, he just absolutely mullered. He got to the quarterback and forced the fumble. The East get the ball back again with time nearly starting to expire in the half. There's a big completion to Efton Chisholm to get them within field goal range. It was a really great throw by Miller between the numbers. Lovely touch between the linebacker and the safety to find him. But the half ends with a pursuit sack by Elijah Roberts. They're not able to get the ball back in time to spike it for a field goal. Christ. This thing right here, there, and everywhere. Defenders making plays. O'Donnell Fortune, his pick six. Tyron Herring nearly having his second turnover of the day. Tonka Hemingway causing absolute chaos in there. Elijah Ponder looking good as well. You know, mistakes on offense. This is kind of what these All-Star games are about. But oh man, the defenders came to play here, especially the East defense. They gave the West nothing.
Yeah. But also, it's kind of odd that the West, they didn't really make much of a concerted effort to establish the run game. But really, they're just kind of going through the motions of recycling quarterbacks, bringing in 3 or 4, and then trying to, like say, just get some one-on-one matchups, like say, take shots down the field. But yeah, there's no rhythm, there's no timing, and their offensive line, the West offensive line, struggled immensely. Like say, on the edges, they were they were losing the first step, as you say, the guys having big first steps that were already halfway past them by the time the ball snapped. And then Tonk anyway, like I said, they were just going straight heads up on him on the middle, and he was kind of eating those guys for breakfast. So the run game really wasn't even tried to be established, and the QBs were under pressure before the ball was even being snapped. And yeah, timing issues. Like I said, not even the tip balls. The fact is, they're preempting where the receiver should be, but they're just out by like half a second. Like I say, they're trying to go back correct. And if you're like say going this way and the ball's back here, you got the linebacker either a corner. It's kind of like the recipe for disaster. Like I say, the defensive backs just loved it because they were kind of just sitting and waiting, just sitting on the routes and just seeing if they unfolded or not. So yeah, the East defense I'd say were very opportunistic, and like I say, good things come to those who wait. Yeah, plenty of turnovers. And at this point, the score's irrelevant. I mean, the score's always irrelevant, but it really was irrelevant because it was completely one-sided. And in the second half, you kind of just need to come out and save a little bit of face, really.
Yeah, this, I mean, I did the first half because that's where all this happened. The second half, it was just all entirely defensive.
It's just like training exercises
There was
almost, isn't
one
it?
field, yeah, especially when you're three scores down. There was one field goal in the second half, and that was it. The team started going to town on sacks and defenses. There were so many punts that I absolutely lost count. But for me, I like my defense, so this was really good to watch. Just in terms of guys in the game who really sort of were able to stat themselves. So on the East's team, we'll start with them first. So their defense, especially Johnny Walker, the edge from Missouri, and not the Black Label whiskey. Two sacks for him. Quarterback hit two hurries, five pressures on the day. Elijah Ponder, the Cal Poly edge, he had four pressures. He had a sack, a hit, and two quarterback hurries. And Tonka Hemingway, six pressures on the day for him, including a sack and five pressures. I mean, that immediately stands out there. Right? As we said, the D line didn't let him run the ball, kept turning the ball over, getting the ball back for their team. But, some very impressive performances from guys who need it for this. Like I say, Tonka doesn't really have the stats sometimes to back up what he's done, although I love him as a player. I think he's going to be really good. Cal Poly, Elijah Ponder, they were saying about him, they've never seen anyone who plays more violently than what he does. And when you look at the way he hits people and the way he swipes, and it's all pure viciousness. And even the top tackles in this one, the group of five, power five guys just had no answer for him.
No, these, like I say, the D line was big because these are guys that are not considered high in their class at all. Interior on the edge. These are guys that are talking, these are solid day three prospects. Maybe even undrafted players, say the guy from Cal Poly. These guys they needed this really big. Like I said, Tonka's been at South Carolina, well, his whole career, hasn't it? I feel like he's
Yep.
a career Gamecock, and it feels like he's never really been talking about. Like I said, obviously, he doesn't have the stats, but the fact is, he's pretty much played all of his games. He's been almost ever present on that defensive line for his entire time there. He's like I say, he's a leader. He's physical. He's strong. Like I say, he pitches in with a couple of sacks. He does a lot of the dirty stuff really well. He's someone I wrote like. I think we need interior help. I think he's a guy we should get a strong look at. I wouldn't be surprised if we do end up picking him up as someone you can stash as a rotational piece inside the line. But yeah, D line, these guys, all of them collectively managed to pin their ears back and did a really good job of getting after the quarterback. And that was why the West really never really stood a chance.
No, and you have to credit that with good DB work as well. O'Donnell Fortune, you don't really hear many people talk about again. Another South Carolina guy no one talks about. Interception and a pass breakup for him. Just gave up one reception for 5 yards on a couple of targets. Big day for him. And then the Delaware guy, right? Tyron Herring, obviously interception and a pass breakup for him and a second away from causing a forced fumble as well. The young blue mud hen, he got a lot of new admirers here. And again, you look at these guys play, and like the young corners from the group of five, power schools, etc. If they've got the traits, they'll do well in the NFL. And you look at him, and he screams, "I can play on Sundays."
Yeah, he's one of those guys that he just doesn't look out of place and he doesn't feel out of place. He looks at guys and be like, I belong with the FBS guys. I belong with the guys on Sunday. It doesn't matter where he played his school, football, like say the level of competition he went up against. He's very comfortable. He backs himself. He bets on himself. He plays bigger than he is. He's physical. And yeah, that one turnover just kind of puts him out there. Like I said, just that tape, like I said, the evidence. Guys will stand up and they will take note of that. And they will be the kind of guy where they're like, oh, he's from a small school. I want to get to know him better. He'll be the one getting all the interviews, not the Tonka Hemingways from like the SEC. You know them. You know about them. No one knows all about Tyron Herring. They're like where he grew up. Like say, what did he play? Did he run track? Like say, what did he do at high school? How did he get here? He's just a little bit more interesting. Like I said, the more you get to know him, the good chance the more you get to like him. He's probably one of the most players out of here that's got the most to gain. Like I say, because of where he started and where the other guys are. Like I say, he's in some of the shadows, so but he can make a big jump and he made an impact.
Did indeed. Switching to the West's defense, we'll do defenders all in one go. Elijah Roberts, the SMU standout, had a really good game. A sack for him, quarterback hit for him, couple of pressures as well. Then outside of that, names who maybe again not as well thought over, right? But three quarterback hits, touchdown saving tackle for Tyler Batty. No, again, he's one who his numbers don't scream out, oh my God, look, he's amazing. I think it's just 1.5 sacks for him this year, but you take the run defense into account, how good that BYU team was, and you watch him in like the motors there, like tracking down QBs, tackling them, saving touchdowns, three QB hits on the day. He was successful in the pass rush. Like you maybe see some things out of these guys that like, yeah, they're not all they seem on the stat sheet.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Batter. A guy that never has to leave the field. Like you say, he's great and runs the pot. He sets the edge. It makes guys second think twice about coming his way. He's not a finisher. Like you say, he's got a lot of work to finish in that. Like I say, pass rush to Arsenal, bring the quarterback down. There's a lot of things he needs to work on there, but he's coachable. He's likable. Like I say, he doesn't have bad traits. He's got a good IQ. Like I say, he's got a decent build. He's someone that, yeah, if you find the right home, like I say, it may take a couple of years. And you know what? It might just click one day for him. Like I say, and suddenly it becomes a household name. But he's someone that you just would like to have on your team. Like say, he's going to listen, he's going to take everything on board, and he's going to look to those guys around him, those league veterans and that. So the guys he respects, he'll probably take a lot from them.
Absolutely. I'd put it this way, considered intrigued about him. Now, the other one I'm really intrigued by after this, I sort of had fleeting interest in him before, but Cam Horsley out of Boston College, obviously watching Boston College very closely this year because of Drew Kendall and guys like that, but he's 6'4", he's 306, and I watched him in this game. Like, he's had no sacks this year. He's got six over 5 years in his career. He's your stand and deliver nose tackle who's in there. He's fantastic against the run, but in this, I saw the pass rush upside, which I saw the exact same with Aleem McNeil in college when he came out and we did his tape and we said the guy doesn't stat sheet much, but watch him every play. And every time I watched Aleem, he did something on a play, even though it didn't seem much. And we've seen what he's morphed into in the NFL. But Cam Horsley, right, he screams the exact same. Like he was getting some serious pressure on Cam Miller in this, but through the middle, they couldn't run a damn thing through him. And you're looking, and again, the system he's coming from, where he's coming from. And I think this has been a tremendous week for him as well. I would now look at him for here if we want something in that regards. But I don't know if you see the same, but he screamed Aleem to me and how he looks given what he's done in college.
Yeah, he's got a similar build. He comes from a similar stout front. He's a very high floor player. Like I say, when you get him as a rookie, you know what you're getting. A very stout run defender. Like I say, doesn't lose leverage. Like I say, he's able to shed blocks. He's got a fairly good missed tackle rate. And when guys do decide to come through his hole, he's strong at wrapping up. Like I said, but then you think about he's got the willingness to learn. Like I say, he can learn. He can get better with the pass move. He can get a bit more violent. The first step can get a little bit more explosive. The hands can get a little bit more of a pop, a little bit more violence in them. So he's got the basics down. Like I say, there are no real flaws to his game right now, and everything else is just an additional extra you can get on the next couple of years. Like I say, right now you start off with a very good solid run support, and then you throw in those guys. You challenge him to get better in like pass rush, and then take
Yeah.
his opportunities when they do line him up one on one, or if you move him around on the interior. Then yeah, it's someone that you can look at making plays straight away. On certain downs right now, you could play him as a rookie, and in certain downs you take him out until he's got a bit more experience.
He's got 67 pressures in college. Like, he can do it. It's just translating that into final production. It was exactly the same with Aleem. There was plenty of pressure, just hadn't really translated it into sacks onto stats on the quarterback. But it was blatantly obvious with him that he was going to be able to, and he can. And as I say, Cam Horsley's giving me major vibes like him now.
I'd rather
I'm
take a guy that can
big
be really good in the run and
run
teach
and
him
be
pass
better
rush,
against the
and
pass.
teach a
Yeah.
pass rusher how to be
Yeah.
good in the run and set the edge.
And I saw his pass rush moves in his his swipe was vicious, man. Like he was, and it was against his teammate. Oh, no, that was Tonga, but his swipe is vicious, and he does the kind of, it just, yeah, he screams Liam McNeil to me. So I'm looking very closely in Cam's direction. Let's move it over to the offenses for these two teams now. And in terms of the East, I mean, this sort of starts and finishes with Krosky Merritt. I mean, 11 carries, 97 yards, nearly 9 yards per carry, two touchdowns for him. I know we already mentioned Murray, but there's a guy he's only not in consideration with the top tier guys because he's not played. An absolute stud at New Mexico State who came over to get his big, moment. But the feet, like just every run he had here, he made someone miss because of his feet, whether it's a stutter, whether it's a cut. I don't know what it is, but he just has this ability to get in space and take advantage of it. If you look at this as a scout, you're like, yeah, he should go a lot higher than what he probably will, and he's showing why with these performances. He ain't lost it, even though he's not been playing.
No. I say someone like I said that had a good pedigree at the Power Five. He backed himself. He tried to make the jump up to the Power Four. Yeah, like I say it's not for lack of trying. It's not for lack of talent. It's just sometimes you don't get the rub of the green. Things just don't go your way. He didn't see the field. Like I say, some would say, well, if he had eligibility, if he did have any eligibility left, maybe he should have returned. Maybe he should have got it on tape. But he's decided to take the plunge. And yeah, he it's such a deep middle class that it's very easy to get lost in this running back group. You could very easily disappear and just become obscure. But he's definitely kept his name in people's mouths this week, like I say, being the real focal point of the entire game on both sides. Like I say, he got a good amount of work. He got some good chunk players. He showed consistency. Like I say, great footwork. Like I say, those were players where you line a guy up, you size him up straight on, and then you're just making him miss. Like I say, because they're watching your feet or they're watching too high, and that's kind of like where he wants to lull you in. And yeah, some great cuts. He looked really good, really consistent. He took a lot of pressure off quarterbacks that didn't know each other, didn't really know the receivers. If you've got a running back that you can give the ball and expect him to get anywhere between like 8 and 13 yards on a touch, then it takes a little bit of pressure off you. It's just a bit of an ease of mind. And yeah, he's one of the real winners of the week. Like I say, keeping himself relevant in a class that is very deep, and also showing that despite say lack of real playing time recent years or making an impact at the biggest level, that he can do it. Like I say, it's
Oh
just going to
yeah.
be a case of he's going to have to try to say probably land on a practice squad as a running back 3 or 4. He's probably going to need some injuries, like I say. And if you get, like I say, when he then, like I say, picks up some carries or some special teams, if you can make a few chunk plays or like make himself known on, like say, a big impact play, then the carries will start to come then. He's going to have to
Yeah.
bide his time for a couple of years. Like I say, maybe pick up where some guys are struggling and then make the most of every impact. But yeah, he's shown that he can do it in a small sample size. It's a start.
Oh, absolutely. I think he can play Sundays for absolute sure, and you're going to get an absolute steal for him in the draft. The other East running back, Andrew Henry, he was called up last minute, did not practice all week out of New Mexico. He went 11 carries for 68 yards, 53 of which came after contact. I was really impressed with him as well. These are names that are
Keeping
just,
himself fit, like I
they're not
say, just
even,
waiting by the phone in case he got a chance. You
yeah.
got to respect that.
They're not even like top 20, 25 in this class maybe or considered to be, and like he after the contact was sensational. Both of these two really did their stock here. The West, they got 65 yards on 14 carries. That was it. There's nothing to shy home about there. In terms of the quarterbacks, Cam Miller went 10 of 17 for 99 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but completed a couple of 2-point conversions, but obviously had the two fumbles as well. Peyton Thorne, the Auburn QB, went 5 of 11 for 27. He really did nothing. On the West side, Ethan Garbers 4 of 8 for 40 yards and two interceptions. Brady Cook, 6 of 9 for 69 yards. Max Brosmer, 9 of 18 for 55 yards and an interception. It was not pretty for either team. In terms of receivers, guys who stood out on the day, well, I mean, On the west side, no one broke 23 receiving yards. Money Park's got 23 yards. Antoine Wells got 22. Jalen Conyers got 21. Taj Brooks got 21. Will Shepherd got 20. Pretty much all on one catch apiece there. You have to go across to the east to look for the guys who did well here. And one guy stood out, right, more than anybody. He's done so during
I
practice.
think he's had the best week in the
Four
entire thing.
Four receptions on four targets, didn't miss a thing that came his way. Efton Chisholm the third out of Eastern Washington, 43 yards, chain mover, had two catches chalked off for penalties called on his teammates as well, but when you just look at him, he's got the separation skills, he's got the yak ability, he's got safe hands. Like the only thing that probably brings him down a little bit going forward, I don't know what his blocking is like. I cannot comment on it. But if his blocking's even average, then you look at him and you're like, yep, that's a guy who can contribute next year in the NFL. This is not just a lazy Cooper Cup, comp. He's legit in his own right. He looks so damn good.
Yeah, he's had the best week of all the offensive players for me. Like I said, the drills were good. Like I say, he's shown that he can do really well in short yards of separation. Like I say, he's caught nearly all his targets all week. Like I said, the ones that are there. Like I say, he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, but he's a hard worker. He's physical. He's gritty. Like I say, he uses his body, understands how it. And then once you get the ball, if you can't bring him down and gets into the open field, then really does start to do some wonders. Then, like I say, he can make guys miss. Like I say, he's slippery. Like I say, he's got that like a Danny Amendola kind of build, like say, where he do really well in the open field. He could make guys miss. Like I say, obviously all the Cooper Cup, like I say, but he's nothing like Cooper Cup, Pro, like I say, because Cooper Cup's like 6.5 foot, 6'1". Like I say, this guy he's nowhere near that. He's not even anywhere near the build. Like I say, so yeah, I reckon it pains him. I reckon he hates anyone to ever compare them. Like I say, it probably pains him, but yeah, he's a really big riser this week. He's a guy that doesn't want to just be considered a slot receiver. Like I say, he wants to prove that it can be more than that. And he'll also just give him some work as a special team returner as well. Give him the chance to return some kicks at the next level. And he may just surprise you at how productive he can be on minimal touches. I
Yeah.
like him. Like I
Yeah.
say, if the picks work, if we pick up some extra picks, I might throw one his way.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. In terms of offensive lineman on the day, on the west side, it was not pretty. John Williams, the left tackle, was really bad. He got a 2.3 pass block grade off of PFF. Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, the right tackle, who I was lauding about over the week, he had a really good game when it came to the run blocking. His pass protection, yeah, he wasn't very good there. Gus Hartwig was probably the standout, the Purdue
Purdue center.
center. Yeah, he had a pretty decent game in both facets for them, but overall it was kind of more grim reading for them. Jack Conley had a good game outside of that really bad sack he gave up to Tonka Hemingway. You go over to the east where things were a little bit better, but you go to the interior. So Bryce Cable-Dew, the Kansas tackle, was playing left guard. He had a tremendous outing, both as a run blocker and a pass protector. Didn't give up any pressures whatsoever. Sprung a couple of the big runs from Krosky Merritt. At center, they had two guys in. So Thomas Perry, the Division Three standout from Middlebury, apart from the one botch snap. He had a really good game and he played snaps at left tackle, left guard, and center. So they moved him all across the line to see where he could play and what he could do. And he really showed out for them. Joe Huber, the Wisconsin guard, I think he played at left guard and center as well, had an absolutely tremendous game. And then Sal Wormley, the Penn State guard, he had a good showing at right guard as well. The tackles, a little bit inconsistent. Mr. Big Christian Lichtenstein, the 6'9" out of Oregon State, had a bit of a rough game. I just don't reckon much to him at that size. He looked a bit all over the place. Issa Poole also struggled greatly in relief as well. He gave up three QB hits. On the other side, Jordan Williams, the Georgia Tech guard, he did all right. And then Dalton Cooper played in there as well. But on 5 pass blocking snaps, he gave up 2 pressures. He got a straight 0 for his pass protection. So, but I don't know, right? Offensive linemen kind of bit of a hide into nothing in this game, aren't they? It's tough for them to show out, but some good performances from the interior and some of the smaller school guys.
Yeah, I don't read it too much into what offensive linemen do here, like say the grades and that. You don't really trust the quarterback. You don't know the running backs. You don't know each other as well. Like you don't have total faith in the guy next to you that you know exactly what he's going to do or where he's going to be. If he's going to be where he needs to be, you're almost thinking about how do I do someone else's job as well in case I need to be. So yeah, it's definitely a hard. It's yeah, there's definitely a unit of playing offensive lineman. It's not a case of you can get 5 great guys and ask them to play together. It just doesn't work like that. Like I say, it's more of a collective. So yeah, there's a lot. Some of them struggled. I think some of their body types, like say, yeah, big 6'9", let's say Liechtenstein. Some of them they're going to have to be moved about to find a position that suits how they style and how they want to play and how their build is. Whether or not it might not be the one they played in college. Some of them will be like, yeah, we don't think you can be there as a pro. You may have to adjust.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is everything in terms of the game itself. And as we come to the end of the week, Rye, who do you think out of all these guys? Don't have to be the game from practices, the games. Who are some guys for you who have really boosted their stock or at least boosted interest in their prospects going sort of deeper into the draft process?
Uh, Woodson, Cal safety.
And his
Uh,
mate at corner.
yeah, got Noah Williams as well. I think those two, they're not getting a lot of love. The two very strong classes, I think, this year. Like I say, they're two guys that have had very productive years this year. They've been very good together. They can kind of tell that they just trust each other. They know where the other's going to be, and they're kind of like they hunt in packs. Like I say, they do well together. I like them both as individuals. I think they've both got a lot of talent. They're both two guys that I've got a lot of time for this year, especially as a team like I say that never can have too many defensive backs. I wouldn't mind picking one of them two up, like I say, in those late day two, early three kind of areas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm impressed with both of them. I mean, Noel Williams led was it him or his mate who led the league in
No,
interceptions
did he?
this
I
year?
think
One
he
of
had.
them
I
did.
think he had 8 or 9 picks this year.
Yeah, he's a ball hawk, and you saw in this game there were some really good ones from him early on, so he's got to be
Tight
up
ends as
there.
well. Tight ends have had a good week.
Jalen Conyers,
Conyers, like I said,
he's
fair
the
Rivaldo, Fairweather. You got
yeah.
pre-scored. You got a decent set of underrated tight ends here.
See, now you to go back to corners again quickly. Took Kobe Bryant last week. He's knocked this out the park. 5'11", 171. This is just he's the story you want to get behind, isn't he? He is not the prototype corner at all. He is the corner when you look at his measurables, you're like, nope. But especially as people like us who love our small school guys, who love the underdog. I mean, you look at this and you're like, yeah, come on, man. You've got someone's got to give him a chance after this. Like, let him go to the combine and smash it. But he is not out of his place at his size whatsoever.
No, like I say, everyone loves the 6 foot, the six. Everyone loves the Trey Amos. You know, the 6 foot, 690, 200 pounds. Like I say, I've got nothing wrong with it. 170, 175 pound corner, just under 5'10", 5'11". Like I say, a lot of them have made really big names for themselves in the league. Like I said, the guys, they're getting smarter, they're getting faster, they're getting stronger. Don't mean they have to get taller or heavier. Like I say, height and weight, it really doesn't mean all that much to me these days.
No, it's all about what they can do, and just trust the tape. They should do hashtag trust the tape. That is what it's all about. In terms of other guys who've done this well this week, I mean, I didn't get a chance during the game, but obviously we talked about Taj Brooks last week. He has definitely done his stock here. The quarterbacks really outside of this game, Kyle McCord, Max Brosmer. I mean, Kyle McCord is he's the intriguing one, right? We mentioned it last week. High recruit. He's had a good college career. Just gets no love whatsoever. But you look at him and you're like, well, he should do. Like, he should be. He could play Sundays if he lands in the right system.
Yeah, like I say, this game really didn't. He didn't need to even step foot in the game. Like I say, I've seen the tape, I've seen the play. Like I say, he's done it at two good programs. Like I say, he's got a live arm. He can make all the throws. He's well put together build wise. Seems a smart kid that processes the game pretty quickly. Yep, I'm fairly confident someone will be very comfortable with a decent draft pick sitting in for a year or two. Like I say, I wouldn't have any worries about it. Like I say, you don't have to put any necessary pressure on him. He won't be taken that high. Yeah, he will be playing pro football in one league or another. Like I say, he definitely looks like a guy that will play somewhere professionally.
Hmm. Oh, absolutely, he does. Other guys who have stood out. I mean, your guy, Shamari Simmons. They mentioned his name every other play in this game. They said the hits he was late, and you could see every hit is a sledgehammer blow. He doesn't seem to. He has don't hit or hit like a
Yeah,
sledgehammer, and
he plays one speed.
he doesn't have an in
It,
between.
yeah, it hurts him and it's painful to watch at times, but then other times you kind of love it and you just wish you don't slow down.
He had an absolutely fantastic game. One of the top tacklers in this entire thing. Even from the safety position. Just every time they made a play, especially at the run game, because they were running at him so much, they were getting through the first two lines. It kept coming to him. He was the only one who could tackle a running back properly on this day, so got to give him props there as well. So yeah, it's been a pretty good week. Obviously, then the school guys, Efton Chisholm, he's done himself a world of good.
Made some money this week.
Oh, absolutely. He's made himself some money. And then, you've got guys on the perimeter who will have done themselves some justice going forward. Tyron Herring, the Delaware corner. Didn't hear much about him during week's practices, but the game himself, he just looked absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I really enjoyed this week with the Shrine Bowl. I think it's been fantastic overall, and good game. A lot of people who've raised their stock up for this, and a lot of people I'm intrigued to see going forward now. So yeah, it's been a lot of good fun. Right, let's move it on to the second of the games. The Senior Bowl, the Big Lebowski, the big one as it was. And if you've not seen already, we did a live stream for it at the weekend, so you can kind of see our live reactions to the game as it goes on. But just first thing to say about the game itself, right? I thought this was one of the best
Very competitive.
iterations. Yeah, this was one of the
They're
best
not usually competitive at all.
iterations of the game I've seen in quite some time. This thing was backwards and forwards. There were points. There weren't many points to start with, but there was a lot of good offensive play, turnovers, and that. I thought, just on a high level, the game itself was fantastic and had a bit of a fairy tale ending, the ending you'd want, let's say, for this. But overall, the spectacle of the game was tremendous.
Yeah, there were two well coached teams. There were drives, like I said, from offenses that were clicking. Like they gelled, built a bit of a rapport this week. And yeah, there was a few standout players. One of them, like I say, yeah, he deserved it. He's worked really hard for it, and it kind of was the culmination of a difficult but a perfect kind of couple of weeks for him. Like I say, the final drive, like I say, was really good, and yeah, it was a pretty exciting ending.
It was indeed. So yeah, as I say, just through the entirety of this, there was some good play on the board. It ended 22-18 to was it the Americans now? Let me just double check. So yeah, you got the American team, you've got the national team, ended 22-19, ended off in a walk-off touchdown to Jack Besh. Obviously, for those who know, you know what happened to his brother, etc. But just again, a guy who had an absolutely tremendous game before this was getting targeted here, there, and everywhere. But two excellent seasons. I'm not going to do the play-by-play. As I say, we've done a review, so if you want to see us run back the game itself, then yeah, do go and watch that. But I think there was good offensive play both sides of the ball. There was good defensive play. It was competitive, which these games really are not. Where do we start with this one? We'll start with um defenses again and maybe guys who stood out on the day. In fact, no, let's start with the offense. We'll do it this way, and you know because may as well lead with it. Jack Besh, right? You've watched him very closely at TCU this year. You've mentioned his name a lot during the season when we've just been doing the regular college stuff and the pods, etc. Obviously, he's had a prolific quarterback throw into him, um, and he's he's not gotten a lot of love considering what he's done this year. Whether it's his overall body of college work, etc., I don't know, but. Coming into this season, he's certainly a name on the rise. He got targeted 7 times in this game. The next one on that team, in terms of targets, got 4. They were after him. He got 6 catches, 68 yards, and the finishing touchdown as well, to ice the game. But in terms of, you talk about weeks for boosting stock and that, everyone's been, talking about the personal stuff and that, and probably, using that as an excuse for the player being good. But he's always been a very good player. And now he's playing with, certainly one of the biggest fires you can have in a guy there. And he had a fantastic game, made some clutch catches, made some really unbelievable catches, quite frankly, and then ices it off for the game winner.
Yeah, he's been one of the best receivers in the whole nation this year. Like I say, no one's talked about the Horned Frogs because they weren't in contention. They've all said that Hoover is a bit of an air raid QB. Like I say, he's put up some massive numbers. Like I say, and it's kind of just a byproduct of that. Like I say, he's had a real stellar breakout year, but that feels disingenuous, like it takes away from how good he has been. Like I say, 6'3", 215. He's built like a dream. It's how you want him. Like I say, but he's shown, like I say, this week in practicing the game, one, the ability to make catches in tight windows. He can make physical catches. He can anticipate contact, power through it, and make the catch. And also in the red zone, he's able to work free and work back to the quarterback and make himself available. All traits I've wanted. I've already decided very much want the Lions to draft him. Like I say, I think he can be a good blend of an inside and outside receiver. And yeah, that's a couple of weeks. I can't imagine what it's been like. A lot of guys probably would have dropped out. A lot of guys would have not come at all. They would have wanted to be with their friends and family, but he decided the best place for him to be was here. And maybe, yeah, use it as a motivation. Like I say, and it definitely worked, like I say, because he was one of the most impactful players of the whole week.
Um, yeah, absolutely. Just hang on, I was just sorting something there. In terms of other receivers on the day, on the American side, Ty Felton got 2 of 2 for 35 yards and a touchdown. Is it the Maryland one? I can never
Maryland.
remember who's who. He
Yeah.
is the Maryland one. Kobe Hudson had a catch for 8 yards. Jarquez Hunter, the Auburn running back, had a decent game, I thought. He had 3 catches for 30. Um, Isaac Tesla, he had 2 of 2 for
The Arkansas
35.
receiver?
Now, Arkansas. And now they were talking about him a lot in this game because he made some blocks as well and did some bits in. But Tesla really looked like they were really bigging him up in this. Arian Smith, the Georgia receiver, 2 of 4 for 33. CJ Dupree, the tight end, he got 2 of 3 for 30. I thought he had quite a good day as well. But yeah, the running backs got to showcase themselves, the tight ends got to showcase themselves. Like the American receivers did, yeah, had a good game.
Yeah. Like you say, they were all. I think it's a testament to the offensive scheming and planning, spreading the ball around. Like you say, a lot of guys getting 2, 3, 4 targets, not just trying to narrow it down on one guy from taken away. Guys were rotating well, and they were all getting free. And yeah, they weren't big chunk plays, but they were chain movers. Like I say, they were consistent and they kept drives going, and they were able to then sustain these. Yeah, a lot of these guys will expect to have their name called at some point during the draft. Like I say, they all have got different, they've got good body types, they've got different skill trees, they've got inside, outside. Some can block better than others, some that have shown that their ability there, yeah. And Hunter isn't another name that is trying to prove that in a crowded running back room, like I say, he's decent body of work, the Tigers, that he's someone that could also make plays on Sundays and that wants to be trusted to carry the ball.
And he catched it, caught every throw came his way, 3 of 3. The North side, their triumvirate of stars there. I say that, but Restrepo was on there, but he's quiet. Harold Fanning, the standout titan from Bowling Green, had 4 of 5 for 25. Pat Bryant, 2 of 2 for 47. Jaden Higgins, 2 of 2 for 41 and a touchdown. Daquan Felton got the other touchdown for them, but Jaden Higgins going to be a star. I'm just going to say this right now, right? The Iowa State guys, him and Noel, they are just showing out something chronic in this, and people are going to start showing some respect to this Iowa State team and the guys they produce out of there because they're known for the defenders. People don't sometimes trust them as much when it comes to their offensive players on occasion, but these two completely legit, and Jaden Higgins especially, like man's just different level. I would expect him to go high on day two. I think he's that good.
Yeah, he had a absolutely stellar year. Like you say, he's gone from a guy that's turned into like top 70, top 80 player to nailed on top 50. As soon as that first round ends, he's going to be on everyone's board. Like you say, the build is there, the size, the muscle. Like you say, he's got the frame, he's got the athleticism. Like you say, he's got footwork. Like you say, you won't have to look in one-on-ones. Like you say, how he's very graceful. Like you say, he's got great body work below the waist, and he's very comfortable moving side to side. And then, like you say, use after yards, and then get the yak using that big physical frame, very hard to bring down. Like you say, he's a dream receiver for the Lions.
Oh yeah, he's
He's got the
absolutely what
traits
we're
right now we
about.
don't have. We don't have someone big, muscular, and strong.
He's absolutely what we're about. I'm growing more and more to the idea. As much as I love Ricky White, I'm growing to the idea of Jaden as well. I've
He's there at
watched
63. Like you run to the podium.
I've watched so much of him because I've watched the Becht, and yeah, I agree. He's tremendous. In terms of the running backs, it was tough sledding for some of them on the north side. Ollie Gordon had 9 carries for 33 yards, looked pretty good. On the American side, RJ Harvey had 4 carries for 24 yards. Jackson Dart did have a rushing touchdown, but for all that happened in this, not many teams decided to run the ball in this. Ollie Gordon was the only one who got to showcase himself, but we know how good Ollie Gordon is. He's a former Doak Walker Award winner. He's going to be tremendous. I think he can be a day one bell cow for somebody, and he kind of just reinforced that here.
Yeah, a lot of carries, not a lot of yards, but I think that's more of a testament to a defense that was able to slow him down. Usually, if you give him 9 carries, he's going to get a lot more than like 33 yards. Like you say, he's a guy, yeah. He's proved in the past that there's first round talent there. There is 2, 3 yard carries every like yard, every drive kind of guy there. He can be a guy that you give the ball 200 plus times in a season. Like I say, he will, yeah, his body will fail before he slows down. He won't give in, like I say, he's tough. It will be genuine injury that the only thing that will keep him off the field. Like I say, he's very well put together. And like I say, he's definitely one of the leading packs of that tier 2 of backs.
He is, and he probably should be in the first, and you'll get him at a second-rate discount, which will be absolutely crazy. In terms of quarterbacks, because the running game didn't take center, quarterbacks were able to. So on the national side, Tyler Shook, he was 9 of 13 for 62 yards, a touchdown and an interception.
I
Dylan
think people are going to be
Gabriel,
surprised how high Tyler Shook goes.
really?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, it might be our
he's
point
got
of contention there.
he's got a crazy build. Don't get me wrong, he's been around the block and he's not sat a lot of places, but he's had some very productive years and the arm is massive. There's
Yeah,
stuff there's stuff I hate about him, but then there's stuff like you can't teach that kind of stuff.
the
Like
pick
you
was
say, he's
bad.
got those kind of traits that
Yeah.
some guys cover.
The
Like I
pick
said,
was bad though. That's the infuriating stuff, isn't it?
yeah, people see like the mug shot of the pretty girl and they're like, I can fix her. Someone will look at Tyler like, I can fix him. Someone will think I can fix him.
See, now you've just got me thinking there's an offensive coordinator out there in the NFL that's got a picture of him up on his wall going, I can fix him. Just
Yeah.
give him to me and
He's
I'll fix
older,
him.
like he's older, like he's got more bad habits, but someone will just automatically look at like, say, like 6'6", big
Yeah.
arm, yeah, pocket passer. Like I said,
So,
Brock Osweiler all over again. And look at what someone did to him. I mean, it didn't last
yeah.
long, but he made himself a lot of money.
Yeah, he did indeed. Oh, I always love that story. In terms of the other passes, Dylan Gabriel started. He went 4 of 6 for 28. He was fine. I forgot to mention this, but Ollie Gordon, 1 of 1 for 32 yards and a touchdown. How good was his throw to the
Yeah,
end zone?
it
You
was
saw
pretty.
in practice during the week they had Donovan uh oh God, Donovan Edwards, the Michigan running back, did it. They did it in
Yeah,
practice. They pulled off the exact same play in the game, but he threw a spiral. Like he threw a perfect spiral, and it was 32 yards into. This wasn't some check down that went
he's
32
been
yards.
practicing that. Yeah,
This was a bomb that went 32 yards into the end zone. So he was, he elevated his stock. He shows he can pass the ball as well. And then the final one Canadian, Taylor Elgersma, 4 of 7 for 57, no touchdowns, no interceptions. But I'll tell you what, right? He did not look out of place whatsoever. He made some passes under some real pressure. He made sensible decisions, did not put the ball in harm's way. I arguably think he was the most impressive of the quarterbacks for the National on this day. I thought he looked great.
yeah. Massive respect to, like I say, not to downplay Canadian football, youth sports, but he's coming from the biggest disadvantage than all the other guys here, isn't it? Like I say, he's coming from, like say, the Laurier Hawks, where, yeah, I don't know their standard of football. Like I say, I don't know how, yeah, I don't know how different it is, or like I say, but yeah, he did not look out of place. He looked very comfortable. Like I say, he's another guy. He's massive.
So,
He's got a great arm. He's got a good build. Like I say, he's young as well. He's actually a lot younger than a lot of guys. He's got a lot of room to potentially grow. Like I say, he's going to be a high level CFL draft pick. Someone's going on his rights there. He's going to be a proper project for, like I say, a six,
there,
7 round pick here. Two teams are going to be potentially fighting over him this year. So there's a lot of development to be there for him. Yeah, he's another guy that he can very much take the Nathan Rourke route.
there was one that
I
I
would
think
like to see him play a full season in CFL, come back to the NFL. That's the
was
best thing for him.
there was one he launched about 27 yards for Pat Bryan, I thought it was, down the perimeter. It was a lovely throw. Absolutely lovely. Straight on the money, straight in his bucket. So, yeah, whatever happens with El Gersma, he's not done himself. Just quickly, I don't know if you know, but Canadian collegiate football, do they play it like the CFL with the elongated fields and stuff? Or do they play it to American standard? Do you know?
Ooh. I'd imagine the Vanier Cup. I'd imagine it's CFL standard pitches
So he's
because
playing, yeah.
yeah, because the Montreal play at McGill University, so the university fields must use the 120
You would
yard
think
field
they
as well.
would to give them,
Yeah,
obviously.
because they're
I
training for the
wasn't
CFL.
sure.
Yeah,
I
so they
wasn't.
played for. That also makes me wonder: do they only play 3 downs? Because
Ooh.
the CFL is only 3 downs as well.
Well, we'll have to look up at Canadian collegiate football. We'll have to customize
I'd
ourselves with the
assume as
rules
well. Yeah,
there.
they play Canadian rules.
Hmm. Oh, I don't know. More of these Canadians are coming through. We'll have to clue ourselves up with it. In terms of the American side, one big standout winner on the day here. Memphis quarterback Seth Hennigan, 12 of 14. So that's an 86% completion rate, 132 yards, and a touchdown for him. Now, I do believe he fumbled one, if I remember rightly. Yeah, he did. So there was one turnover on the day for him. But as a passer, right, we've watched Seth Hennigan a lot. That Memphis offense is tremendous. 14,000 passing yards in 4 years is insanely good. And again, in this all-star show against better level of opposition, more guys out there, completely bowled out.
Yeah, like I say, this is not the first Memphis quarterback to do so either. Like I say, Brady White. Like I say, he kind of went down the same route. He tried to crack the NFL after throwing for a crazy amount of yards. He wasn't able to do it, but I feel good about Seth Hennigan. I mean, if I look towards pro, he's up there as maybe one of the best group of 5 options. I think he has to be. Like you say, yeah, he's like as you say, he's well experienced. He's been part of like say top 20, top 30 offense, every year of his career. It's well coached. QBs, like I say, and the coaches have got good NFL links. He's well put together. Like I say, he's got a strong arm. He reads the game well. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. There's something there to work with.
Oh,
Like I say,
absolutely
he,
there
he's a
is.
guy where yeah, you keep him around for a couple of years, you see what he's got. Like I said, I'd
Mm,
fully expect a lot of teams to be ringing him if, let's say, you don't get drafted. Like you say, a
absolutely.
lot of
Yeah.
guys will be like, yeah, we want you as a project. We want you as a practice squad QB.
Could be a Mr. Irrelevant candidate, potentially. Something like that. You take a last snap, get him on your
Yeah,
roster and get
anyone
him
that wants
under.
to beat the guys to it, then seventh round probably gets
Mm,
snapped up.
indeed. In terms of other QBs on the day, both sides had a running back throw a touchdown. RJ Harvey threw one for them, 25-yarder. Again, a kind of similar play design. So both coordinators going into their books here, playing one off one another. The National did theirs first, the American did it after. Riley Leonard started the game 6 of 7 for 50. He looked efficient, actually looked pretty decent, I thought, in his short time out there. And then you've got the two Mr. Inconsistents out of there. Jalen Milrow, 3 of 5 for 21 yards. Jackson Dart, 1 of 3 for 39. It's a tiny sample size, but I'm just seeing the same inconsistent stuff. Like they're riddled with inconsistency, which you do not want from a quarterback coming into a draft process. But hey ho, that was everything in terms of the QBs. And
Kind of
then
feels like they're there to make up the numbers. I
yeah,
think
they didn't really feel in for it, did
pretty
they?
high.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't really feel in for that. In terms of offensive line, some good and some bad performances on the day. Let's start on the North's side first. Josh Connolly had a bad day. He did not look good
Bad
whatsoever at
week.
left tackle for them.
Pause.
Yeah, he's well, some say he's had a good one. I think he's not done his case for a first round pick any good. Anthony Belton came in North Carolina State, our guy here. He did not look good either. They both struggled at left tackle position on the national side. On the interior, though, again, much better. Jalen Rivers at left tackle looked really good. At center, you had a couple of different guys in there. So Jonah Monheim was in there for a bit. Grazer Bell was in there, and he was absolutely fantastic pass blocking. He was an absolute menace. He split about half his snaps at right guard to half his snaps at center. He didn't look phased in either aspect of this. He's just had a week of all weeks there. And then who else did they have? So right guard split between three. Caleb Rogers came in. He looked really bad. Jonah Monheim took a few snaps there as well, but Grazer Bell took the most of the position. And then at right tackle, Marcus Moe. So he's the tackle out of Purdue. Absolutely fantastic game from him. Probably one of the best offensive linemen out there. Thought he was absolutely tremendous. They tried Jalen Travis and Ozzy Trapilo there as well. Trapilo was really good, especially when it came to the pass blocking. Another Boston College can. There's a lot of under the radar Boston College guys in there this season. Then on the American side, man, I hate to say it because we're so pro HBCU here, but Carson Vincent, after a tremendous week of training, yeah, he was not good in this one. He gave up 2 sacks, a QB hit, 5 hurries. Landon Jackson had him on toast, the Arkansas edge. So this was kind of a bit of a rude awakening for him, but he did play the entire game there. So, they showed enough faith to keep him out there and keep going with him. So I'm hoping that at least stands out for something there. Clay Webb, the left guard, the guy I love out of Jacksonville State. He gave up a couple of sacks as well, but he was mauling run blocker. Looked tremendous in that aspect as well. And he did have some good pass block reps as well, but the 2 sacks really stood out there. But then we get into some of the good ones. Jacob Bayer, the center from Arkansas State, looked really good. Willie Lampkin, the UNC guard, took a few snaps there as well. He took a few at right guard. But the one who impressed me most of all, right, and I kept saying his name again and again and again, comes from Sac State, plays at right guard. Jackson Slater, maybe the best offensive lineman in this game, period. And, that Sac State team, as we keep saying, it's an incredibly good side. It's going to be even better with Brennan Marion going forward. But he's 6'4", 316 pounds. He's been playing left guard for the last 4 years. But at right, he's not given up a sack in 2 years. And just looking at this game and you see why. Like every game, every snap was like it was a pancake or it was, I don't know, some form of violence, but my God, did he look good? Like you talk about under the radar guys. Like I was well impressed with him, and I'm watching his tape now. He's tremendous.
Yeah. a lot of guys on the day did struggle. Like saying that also even just highlights the guys that were like say one average but two like say then excelled. Like I say, not a lot of people were able to show consistency, but Webb, like I say, yeah, he's a good build for a guard. Like I say, that's how I like him. I like him heavier under 6'4", 6'5". He's a kind of guy that meets fire with fire. Like I say, he doesn't just wait for guys to come onto him. He kind of meets them there and then head on. Like I say, he matches violence. Like I say, he's got good hands, a good pop, and he's one of those guys. Once he gets hold of you, doesn't plan to let go. Like you say, he kind of just wants to take you down. Like I say, very aggressive. Like I say, very physical. There'll be players where that comes back to bite him in the ass. But this week, like I say, he's measured it very well and he's known when to be, like I say, take it up a notch. Like I say, to be, like I say, finish them, drive them down, and then, like I say, move on to the next task at hand.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to draft Diamond in the rough, Jackson Slater out of Sac State, get on that immediately and watch it. Like, and go back and watch the Senior Bowl game. He's absolutely tremendous. I wasn't even watching him, and I just saw the same play again and again and again. I'm like, oh my God, I keep watching this guy. I'm not watching the game. Said it on stream. Absolutely crazy. He was tremendous. So, yeah. And then at right tackle, Jonah, and I cannot say his last name, Savanea, the Arizona tackle. They've been playing him inside all week, but he played right tackle for the predominant part of this. He looked decent. That right hand side of the line, especially, was pretty good, and the center as well when Jacob Bayer was in there. Jacob Bayer's another center prospect out of Arkansas State. No one's talking about the centers this year. I'm actually quite impressed. I'm not, coming into the draft process. I'm like, maybe there's something there. Not overtly high though, but I looked and he had a very good game against some very good DTs. So yeah, we'll see what goes on with him. Switching over to the defensive side of the ball, and there were quite a few good performances on here. So we'll start on the American side first. And in terms of guys who had good games, right? Some who, a lot of the stars were out here, but again, this was some of the underappreciated guys who came forward here. Dan Jackson, the safety out of Georgia, had an absolutely tremendous game. I've not watched him much. Well, obviously we watched Georgia much, but Georgia defenders seem to get a load of hype coming into the draft. He's a name you might not know from
He's
that
never featured
side.
that much. Big key special teamer as well, like you say.
Yeah, he's
He's
had
a
a
package
starting role.
safety.
He's been a starting role this year, but name called quite a lot of plays on this one for him, especially in coverage as well. Like, I thought he was great.
Yeah, like you say, he's always been. I've always seen him in run support and run downs, like you say, making tackles. I've never seen a lot of him at Georgia in coverage. It feels like it's not a thing they asked him to do, or maybe they didn't trust him. Maybe he was just behind the depth chart when it came to passing downs. But yeah, that's the one big step of his game that has been a relative unknown to now. And if he's going to make it at the next level, like I say, obviously we know he can tackle, we know he can play on special teams. Like I say, can he cover? Like I say, is he any good? Like I say, dropping back into coverage. Like I say, the further he gets away from line of scrimmage, can he still be effective? So he needed a big week in that aspect.
And then his mate, who I'm really impressed with as well, Small Mondon at linebacker, another who you've never heard about him as like been a core guy there, but he's played 1,500 snaps. He's 6'3", 235. Like is that perfect size for a linebacker? That would be my perfect linebacker weight. But he was another who was just flying to the ball wherever he was getting into the backfield, was good in coverage, was all over the place. Like these fringe Georgia boys, I mean, look really good.
Yeah, like I say, these are the some of the lesser household names. These were guys that were sometimes buried on the depth chart, or they become in rotation, like say on third and fourth downs. They didn't put up big numbers, did they? Like I said, and he never managed to put together back to back stringing strong performances at the Bulldogs. So he's the kind of guy that is here to prove that he wasn't just there to make up the numbers. He is good enough in his own right and would have been a star anywhere else. He happened to be on the wrong Georgia team at the wrong time, and he was not able to make an impact there. But yeah, made a great impact in the game and proved, like I say, yeah, very well rounded, a good build for someone that wants to play inside and outside. Like I say, he looks very capable tools wise.
Oh, absolutely, he did. in terms of the secondary guys, the two lane guys showed out, especially their safety, Caleb Ransaw. You watched them a bit more than me, but gave up one target on one reception on four targets. He had the pick on that team as well. I know him as well, but watching him in this game, like this, in terms of being a safety and coverage, he looked about as polished as you could imagine a guy in this situation.
Yeah, but I like him. Like I say, it's an interesting class. It's a mix of guys. Like I say, someone that can be in run support, can play in the box, but I think he likes being in coverage. He's very comfortable trailing guys. He's got good hips. Like I say, he's very comfortable working sideline to sideline. And then yeah, he breaks on the ball. Like I say, the hands are good, the eyes. He's got a good definition of reading, like I say, receivers as well. Lets them tell him where the ball's going to be, and then goes and makes the play. So yeah, he had a really good game. What a better game than a lot of guys.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the linebackers, did pretty well. Demetrius Knight Jr. had a good game again. We still keep talking South Carolina prospects. They all did out here. There was only one sack on the team. Pretty good one though. Princely, Uman Malin. Talk about guys on the fringe of that first. I don't know what you make of him. I thought he had a pretty decent game. He was quiet, but he had the sack. He showed what he can do there. Just enough for what he did in his scenario.
He solidified what I know about him. He's not a first round player. I said I don't think anyone's going to take him there, but he's yeah 45, 50. Like I say, yeah. I don't think he makes it to 63, which is where I would absolutely nab him.
Mhm. Oh,
So
absolutely.
he's not a day one starter, but he could be an average level starter one day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Moving to the Nationals defense, and now there were some big performances on here we want to talk about, but especially their defensive line. So Landon Jackson, let's say, made day very hard for Carson Vincent at the left tackle position. He had a sack and a QB hurry, had a forced fumble as well, was just utter chaos, but he was not alone on that line. There was some real big performance on there. None so more, Ryan, than one of the FCS guys, and we've talked about him quite a few times already this offseason. David Walker from Central Arkansas. Now, in this game for him, six pressures, a sack, a QB hit, four pressures. He had a tackle, run stop. Um, 6'2", 260. People say that maybe a little bit too small. No, is he heck? Like as a run defender, he was great, and he's been known for his run defending. He's been an elite plus run defender his entire career, although at the FCS level. But in this one, as a pass rusher, like he was coming through the interior, he was on the outside, he was all over the place. Like he really put on a show for the scouts that were there this week. He was tremendous.
Yeah, like you say, he's a guy that's got an interesting build. He's fairly short, but he's well put together. He's heavy, he's strong. He can win on the outside. He can win. He can go around the outside. He can use his hands, but then he can rely on, like, say, hand in the dirt, speed, flexibility. Very well rounded. Had a really good game in all aspects of it. He showed himself that he's got versatility. That's what he's going to need to make to crack a roster next season. He's got to be able to play up and all down that line using his body.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was so impressed with him and what he did in this one. Like, and just from all over this line. So Oladejo, the UCLA edge, he had two sacks in this game. Another who raised his stock immensely, Junior Tafuna from Utah, he had two sacks through the interior as well. And we talk defenders from Utah, we know these are an elite crop there, but like he's probably not been mentioned as much, probably as a result of that Utah team, sort of going down a bit in popularity, and not been as good this year, but absolute menace from the interior, and they could not deal with him all day long, no matter who they put at center, who they put at guard. He was all over the show.
Another guy carries that Utes bloodline. They're just so well coached, they're out there. It doesn't matter how well the team plays in season. You just get them ready. Like you say, makes plays. Like you say, he was fast off the snap. Like you say, he was getting through the hole, and he's a finisher. He got a couple of chances and he took them. Like I say, he really needed them as well. Like I say, it was a great game for him.
Absolutely. Well, I was really impressed with him. George Joyner, the Minnesota edge, he got a sack on the day as well. Like I say, Oladejo got two. The defensive line just feasted. They kept rotating them in and out. But outside of the offensive line, one who had one of the most impressive games of them all. These guys at Iowa, right? You bring them out the secondary. Sebastian Castro does not get the love that his counterparts in recent few years have got there for him, but in terms of this, four tackles for him, nothing missed. Targeted three times, targeted five times, gave up three catches just for 8 yards, had a pass breakup on the day, four run stops. They brought, he brings the power. These guys are as good against the run as they are against the pass. You can use them in either aspect and they'll just slot right in, but he's built like an NFL player. He plays like an NFL player, and he just doesn't get the love that his teammates have got. But you look at him, and if you were getting him on day two, you'd be more than happy. Like he's going to be a great player on Sundays, right?
Yeah, I love him. I've loved him for years. Corner, safety, nickel, slot, weak side linebacker. There's a place for him on in every defense. Don't matter what you run, you should have a place to put him. He's very well polished. He's been very productive. Like I say, he's not got any love because of, like I say, some of the high level teammates he's played with, but he's been an ever present. He's kind of been the glue that's held them together and not got any love. He's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, but like I say, he's clever, he's physical, and he plays with his brain. He's a starter on some days and some defenses, especially in some packages. I'd love him. I don't think we've got anywhere
Gotcha.
to play him, but I'd absolutely love him.
That's it. Sometimes as much as you
He
hate to
can
say it,
have the
it's like
Brian Branch kind of impact,
yeah. And if you can't
just
do it
roaming
here,
around.
you just want to see him do it somewhere else. But like he is the ultimate Sunday player, if ever you saw one. He had an absolutely tremendous game. As I say, that this and in a game that was dominated by the defensive line, he was one of the ones who stood out. Elsewhere, the linebackers did quite well though. Jeffrey Basser, he had a good week all told, had a good game as well, had a couple of pressures through the interior from him, from the linebacker late blitzing, etc. So yeah, it was pretty good. Nicholas Martin, the vastly experienced Oklahoma State linebacker, he's going to be the next of a long line of guys who've come out that school who goes to the NFL. Someone's going to pick him up quite early. And Jonathan Edwards, the Tulane corner, he had a good day as well. 8 tackles for him, pass breakup as well. He's another Green Wave who's going to go to the NFL, Ryan. He's not going to look out of place at all.
Yeah, Tulane just build and ready. Like you say, great game. The tackling ability is full on show as well. It can either make or break a defensive back if you can't tackle, no matter how good you are in coverage. He was rock solid. Like I say, gives up catches, like I say, the coverage not always there, but stops the player there and then wraps up with good technique. Strong and physical. I like that about his game.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and the other one I forgot to mention is Darius Alexander. Another one on that deal. They had a stupidly good dealer. I think one side got given
He's kind of come out of nowhere in recent weeks. I
an
love that about him.
unfair, yeah, one team got an unfair defensive line given to them in this one, I think. But yeah, the national defense went crazy. Some wonderful performances in there. So again, yeah, absolutely tremendous game. Some really good performances. Some guys who've really managed to make themselves stand out in this process. But we look back on the week as a whole again. Ryan, we talk about, guys who've won from this, guys potentially who've lost from this. I mean, I guess in terms of guys who've won, I guess it's hard to look past Besh. Was there anyone else other than Besh who could anyone top him in terms of how great a week they had?
I'd say Landon Jackson. Like I say, he was very good at Arkansas. He's been very productive in spats, but yeah, had a really good week. Showed some versatility. He's a bit of a tweener in a tweener sized.
Hmm.
I quite like him. Like I said, I think he offers something that I think we could make the most of. Like I said, in a deep outside edge room, I think he's trying to separate himself. Like saying, good run support, good tackler, can get to the quarterback as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else won for you this week? Is there anyone else who stands out as having a really good senior bowl week overall?
Yeah, Pat Bryant.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys talk about Jack, but got to talk about Pat as well. Very good, very rangy, strong outside receiver. Good in the red zone. Had a great year. Yeah, he kind of fits the mold of what I'm looking for as well. Taller guy, longer arms. Like I say, he's good at stretching the field.
Oh yeah, absolutely he does. Who else did have a good week? I'm trying to think practice wise, Elijah Arroyo. We talk about tight ends. He's probably had one of the biggest weeks of them all. He's done really well. Marcus Yarns, the Delaware running back, I thought he did very well. He's just going to get completely swamped. He's probably like running back 40 in this class, but you've got to give him some for that. But I guess defensive lineman would be the winner of the week here. Like everyone from Savion Jones played incredibly well. Like you said, Landon Jackson already has just been an absolute menace there. Holiday who looked good. Tafuna. I guess as a group in told, it is the defensive line who are the winners of this.
Yeah, like I say, defensive line in the Shrine Bowl. It didn't make much of an impact, did they? They couldn't really alter the game, didn't have too much of in the game. But this time, like I say, Senior Bowl, they wrecked the game. Like I say, these high level quarterbacks that are used to playing against some of the elite talent front struggled with a lot of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. They did. Other winners who's done well. I think Harold Fanning comes out of this better. Obviously, he's shown what a lot he can do there. Mike Green did. He didn't play in the game, but he's another. He didn't even have to, right? Another defensive lineman who's just sent his stock through the roof. I know Trevor Etienne got a lot of love out this week. I'm still not willing to put him very high up the boards here, but he did
Never
all
been
right.
sold on him.
No, I've not either, not fully, but people go, well, look, James Cook was the same coming out of Georgia and not the most amount of traction in the world, but look what
Yeah,
he's
but it took
doing.
him years to get going as well, didn't it?
Oh God, yeah, it did. It's going to take years for him to get going as well, I think. So, you're gonna take time there with him. In terms of QBs, I mean, Jackson Dart has come out of this a winner now, right? Everyone's trying to push him in that first round conversation now. Whether there's
Yeah,
an
but not
agenda
because of
behind it
what
or
he's
not.
done here.
I mean,
I
the
mean,
practices, not the game, the
practices, yeah,
practices.
yeah. It's one of those, like I said, you're either a believer or you aren't. There's no middle ground with him, is there? You either think he's a day 4 or 5, you either think he's day 4, round 4 or 5 quarterback, he's a round one.
Yeah,
You kind of got to be on either camp. You can't have a foot in either.
yeah, yeah. No, you can't.
Scares the life out of me. I get the traits, but I couldn't take him top 15, top 20. And I
No,
think he'll still go there.
no. And back to the defensive line. I know there's now a lot of chatter about Jared Ivey. And again, you watch this Old Miss team, like everyone wondering where's his best position to play, but there is an NFL player in there in him if they find it. I'm not sure, but he's gotten a lot of love after this week.
Yeah, he's big, he's tall, he's strong, he's a finisher. He's just not over athletic. Like I say, someone's going to find somewhere to fit him. He'll be impactful. I like him. It's just going to be kind of like say schematic wise.
Yeah, I think there's a place in there for him somewhere. In terms of guys who've not done their stock so good, is there anyone you're a bit more down on after this? Anyone who's a bit meh? I mean, for
Jalen
me,
Milrow.
well, that was exactly the first name I was going to say.
I've never seen it and I still don't see it.
No, his name should absolutely not be in any mock draft, first round mock draft, like, period. Someone would get fired over a move like that. That feels like he's got going to get you fired range about him.
Yep. Someone's going to take him fairly high.
Yeah. I'm going to get this one in as well early. Deone Walker. This is just, he's another traits guy. Everyone loves him because of the traits, but the productivity's not been there. And out of all the Kentucky guys, like I like a lot of the Kentucky guys this year, but not him. Plays too
Hairston's
high.
had a great week.
What?
Maxwell Hairston had a great
Oh
week.
yeah, Maxwell Hairston's in there. Like, I don't know how hard you got him up the corner boards because I
I
know
think he's a
there's
second rounder.
yeah, because after like the first two or three, like Hunter, uh, Will Johnson, and oh God, who's the other one? There's,
Ramos.
yeah, I don't know. There's three of there's like a couple of them who are going to be really top first round, and it feels like there's a big cut off afterwards where there's not going to be many, and he's in the group behind. I think Maxwell Hairston has the temperamentality to be a lion. I don't think we need him, but I think he would work here.
Yeah, and he's well put together. He's another guy that's 5'11", 190. He's not these big 6'1" massive guys. He's just a great player.
Yeah. I trust the Kentucky system when it comes to the defenders, even if it's not worked with Josh Pascal as of yet. You'd still bet on them being able to come out here and do a good job. Who else has done well? Um, oh, I tell you what, who did do well. He didn't get much of a chance in the game, but he did as a returner, and he's had a good week. Rashard Smith, like another running back.
From SMU, yeah,
SMU,
he's fun.
but he had some real good like as a special teamer, returner, and he's a very good running back as well. He's another who's going to fall to stupidly low levels when he shouldn't, but I thought he really put himself on show this week. He should absolutely be up in there in the conversation with the higher tier guys, not the mid tier guys.
I think the other thing that let him down is his size, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
he's really little, isn't he? I think that's the only thing that holds him back.
Mm, it is. It shouldn't though.
It shouldn't. But if he was 2 inches bigger, a bit heavier, probably don't have this conversation. Yeah, it's
No.
going to be unfairly looked upon.
No, it is. It's going to be a shame. Other winners during the week, obviously the Titans we mentioned. Mason Taylor. I just don't know. He looks good, and he's not been at a school that I don't know. He sniffs of someone who's going to completely shock you. Not that he should, but probably he's just not been in the best situation to showcase himself.
Yeah, he's just been buried. The targets have just not been there for him, have they? Because look at the guys he's had to compete with, but he's just persisted and stayed with it. Yeah, I could see him going to the NFL straight away and having a breakout kind of rookie year.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure. We'll have to see with him. Right. So that's really everything in terms of the Senior Bowl as a whole. We've had some questions, so we'll do questions and bits now. We'll hang around for a bit. So yeah, if you've got any questions about the Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, and I know there's some in the chat at the minute which I'm going to go through, but if you've got anything else you want to put in there, then please do so. We got asked one by Gunny earlier, Mike the Marine. He went any round one, two players from the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl, and most of them rounds 3 to 7 and UDFAs. Well, I mean, the Shrine Bowl's the tougher one for the round one, two guys, right? Because obviously, you know, it puts a lot more emphasis on. Obviously, Shador Sanders is going to be a high pick from there, but in terms of, is there anyone else you think from the Shrine Bowl you'll look at and you're like, yeah, they're going to be higher rather than a lower pick?
Ooh,
I mean, I'm just having a look through at the minute for me. Are there any really
any
high
O linemen?
level? See, Cable Jew, Conley, Dalton Cooper, Tyler Cooper, Josh Gray, Gus Hartwig, Joe Huber, Drew Kendall, Thomas Perry, Holland Pierce. Holland Pierce had a go. He was at the Senior Bowl. No, he was at Shrine
And
Bowl.
oh wait, Gray Zabel.
Gray Zabel from the Senior Bowl. We've got Shrine Bowl here. Right, Kenneth Grant was at the Shrine Bowl. So he's going to be a first round pick, and I'm telling you now, he is going to be the first round pick of the LA Chargers. It's not a lazy comp just because Jim Harbaugh is there, but Jim Harbaugh once described him as a gift from God. They need a run stuffing defensive tackle high up, and he's going to be there when they pick at 22 or 23. You can pencil that pick in right now, I believe. But Kenneth Grant is certainly going to be up there. Oh, what about Tonka? Is Tonka playing his way up into a top pick? Where do you reckon his ceiling's about right now?
Top 100.
So that's maybe not. I want to try and find some top 50, 60 guys out of this. Who's going to be? Elijah Roberts is going to be up there. He's one of the best edge rushers in the draft, although there's a lot of edge rushers in there. But he should be a top 50 pick. So he's certainly a high-end guy you're going to get there. Who else have we got? Chris Paul from Mississippi, he's falling. Jay Higgins, the Iowa linebacker, I'm not sure. Is he
It's
going to
like a
be all
year
the way
ago I'd
up
have said
there?
yeah, but I feel like not now.
It's just fallen off a little bit, hasn't it? Obviously, Shavon Ravel was at the Shrine Bowl. He didn't play, but he
He's a
was
first
part of
round
that
player, but
roster. Yeah, so he's certainly going to be in there. Oh, I think that's it in terms of the real high draft picks from these. Although Kyle McCord, there's just something telling me that Kyle McCord's going to be a day two pick and someone's going to be surprised, and he shouldn't be. I don't know. Where do you see Kyle McCord's ceiling?
I mean,
I think day two pick is not
got to be in Hendon
unfair.
Hooker territory, hasn't it? Surely.
Yeah, and he's younger. I mean, it's not hard to be younger. He's still old on the older side, but you
Third
could
round.
surely put him in there. Yeah, absolutely. The running backs are just going to get diluted. Who should be? Taj Brooks should be a day two pick. Krosky Merritt should be a day two pick. Rocket Sanders should be a day two pick. They're not gonna be because of the depth in there, but there's some good ones in here. I mean, in terms of the receivers, who have we got? Jimmy Horn's too small to go early. Will Shepherd? Ricky White will.
Yeah.
In my view, Ricky White will. Will Shepherd's the one. Where do you reckon Will Shepherd goes?
He's big. He's rangy. He's
And
got a
he's
lack
got
of production.
production.
Yeah.
And he's done it at Vanderbilt. He's done it at Colorado. I think he should go high.
Late day two, early day three, I think.
Who else have we got? The tight
Could
ends.
be a steal.
Aronde Gadsden, I would put in the day two conversation as well. Priest Corn, possibly. Jalen Conyers has played his way into it. The way he's been going. Can't see any of the offensive linemen there doing it. Interior D line, apart from Kenneth Grant. Yeah, I'll put Cam Horsley in there. Cam Horsley should be a day two pick. I'm not sure he will be. Jordan Phillips had a great week for Maryland. He could be in that conversation as well for day two. Tyler Batty, ugh, probably going to get diluted down by that class. But him
Yeah. I
and
think the lack of production, yeah, the lack of finishing will hurt him.
Johnny Walker. What about John? So Johnny Walker's in it. It's like we had. It was the Missouri one last year. Darius Robinson, or was it the other one? There were two of them, weren't there? Who was the super freaky athletic edge out of Missouri last year? I think it was Darius Robinson.
Yeah.
You've now
He's
got
linked to edge,
Johnny.
yeah.
You've now got Johnny Walker there, who is insanely athletic and freakish in his own right. Maybe he gets up there as well. I'll have to watch a bit more for him. So. Yeah, I don't know. There's some good guys coming out there. The rest of them, you're going to be looking into day three territory. But a lot of these guys, for sure, are going to get drafted. In terms of, let's just go back and we double check the question again. So, the Senior Bowl. I mean, Senior Bowl's a lot more. There's going to be tons of the guys going early from the Senior Bowl, right? That's just what it
Oh,
is. It's just absolutely full. I mean, let me just get the list up here from it, but I think without a shadow of a doubt, this one's probably going to be. I mean, Jackson Dart's going to be up there. Jalen Milrow will be up there
he'll be up there, yeah.
for better or for worse. The running backs, I just don't know with this class. They should be up there. They could be, but they might not be. Pat Bryant's going to be up there. He's going to be one of the higher picks. Jaden Higgins will be. He should probably be the highest rated out of these. Xavier Restrepo may well be as well. Harold Fannin, he's going to be a borderline day one pick, potentially at tight end, depending on how his series goes. The offensive linemen, no. I don't think there's any offensive linemen here who are going to go day one. They'll start going day two. But after that, I'm not sure. On the edge market, Iziruaku, he'll be in fringe day one consideration. Mike Green will go day one. That's not a give anymore. I think it's just how high is he going to go, providing he nails everything out there. Landon Jackson's going to be a RAS. He's going to be a RAS guy, so he'll be in there as well. Walter Nolan, he will go round one for sure.
Yeah,
Again,
I feel like a
his
round one now, guy.
his is how high is it going to go in round one? Uman
Princely,
Malin,
I don't
yeah.
like to say it. Yeah, it's going to be a. It could
It,
go top 30 to 32, could go 50 to 60.
It depends when the edge markets. It depends when the market for these guys starts, right? And then, they'll soon fall like dominoes. Linebackers, Jeffrey Basser's probably got the best claim, or Demetrius Knight
Dirty
here.
safety, which a lot of people covet.
Yeah. The secondary guys, Sebastian Castro, Maxwell Hairston, they will both go very early. Um, who else did I know Azariah Thomas is getting a look. I don't know. You just in
He
terms of
feels like he could go a lot higher than he should do.
pushers that befuddle me and confuse me completely is he's right at the top of that list. I've no idea why anyone's pushing him at all
Because
in
he's six
terms
two,
of
210.
yeah, that's it. It's just because of his size. I'd rather have a small guy. Give me the small guy there. So, yeah, the Shrine Bowl is a little lightly scattered with the really high draft prospects there, Gunny. The Senior Bowl always has a lot more in there, but for me, the Shrine Bowl has more of the hidden gems in there who far surpass what you will pay for them in the draft. Hence, why we find it a lot more interesting to do other questions. I know we had some in here, so let me just scroll on down. Brent's got one for Gerald. Yeah, sorry, Brent. We're just still trying to sort out a time with him at the minute. So he's obviously he's very busy. He's just got he put up a tweet today saying he's finished his first recruiting cycle with Morgan State. So they've got all their recruits in for the new year. He's got like 25 odd guys in or something like that. So obviously it's a ton of work for him to get through, so we just wait until he says he's available and then we do it. The HBCU Legacy Bowl ain't for 2 weeks yet, so we've got time. We did it early just so we'd be able to get it in the way there. So hopefully we'll get you through that one. Just push down here. So Carson Vinson, has he played his way all the way down to the UFL or the UDFA market? I mean, that's not going to have helped that game,
Yeah.
but
It might be the best route for him.
they gave him what I would say in relief of this is they gave him 61. They gave him the entire game there and they left him on an island. They didn't give him any help. So that's a trial by fire thing with him. Obviously, he's going to be a raw prospect coming out of every FCS prospect's going to be raw in some regard, and he's no different. But I don't know. I'm just very suspicious because they all talked about him really nicely during the week. I get really suspicious now because 12 months ago, when we had Gerald on actually, and we heard about how nice everybody was about Sunday Arthur at the Shrine Bowl. Sunday Arthur Anderson killed the Shrine Bowl last year, and everyone was raving, oh, he's great, and he had his 5 minutes of fame, and then he didn't get drafted. So I'm always a bit skeptical when everyone goes all overboard on the HBCU guys now. I don't think they've been entirely truthful when they say stuff about him, so. He will be in day three recognition for sure, but he should get drafted. He's got the size, he's got the build, he's got the experience, and over some of the tosh that will be getting taken at that point in the draft, he should absolutely get a go. But yeah, he's going to be in the day three territory. Brent also goes, do we draft a late round linebacker this year? And if so, who's your guy? If you could
We
pick a
should,
linebacker.
because
No,
Anto's
it,
on through contract this year, so we should.
So my immediate answer here is Jackson Woodard from UNLV. I think he's absolutely amazing. I'm just waiting. I've requested the tape off him from Caddy, so I'm just waiting for that so I can do a show for you all on him. But I love Jackson Woodard
I
and what
would.
he
I
brings to the
might go a bit
table.
earlier. I like someone like Schlesinger from UCLA, or who's the Minnesota linebacker?
Oh, you're
Lintonfeld,
um
something
oh
like that.
God. He's on the oh God, hang on. You've got me there. I'm not sure entirely. Where's he figured to go? Do you know?
I think late day three. think Schlesinger though, UCLA is going to be like a day two.
See, they've got so many. Cody Lindenberg.
Yeah, Lindeberg.
They've got. You know what? I know I'm not just saying it because
Or
my
Carlton
Marcus in the
Bruner from
building.
Washington,
I don't.
day
Yeah,
three.
I like a lot of the guys who are coming out from there this year. Ursary's done himself a load of good. The tackle. He's probably put himself up the tackle boards. Yeah, Corey Lindenberg was 6'3". So you've got him there. And he is, hang on, where's his things? 6'3", 240. So again, you want the right build. He's quite on the big side, but yeah. So you've got Cody Lindenberg. I've got Jackson Woodard. They'd be the guys that we'd take if you're doing late on for your linebackers there. Carlton goes, is Jack Kaiser a late round linebacker? Is he late? I don't know where Jack Kaiser's market is. 70 starts for Notre Dame, and he's had a good preseason off-season process so far. I think he's a lot of people have said he's been one of the winners out of this week. I don't know. I don't really get what the knock is on him. I get he's older. I feel like he should be certainly draftable. He should certainly be a day three guy, right?
Yeah, I don't think age is an issue at linebacker. To be
No,
honest, I
it's
don't,
a
don't
shorter
know.
career anyhow, really, isn't it? You only need 6, 7 good years, and then that's it.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely draftable.
Oh, absolutely. Jack Kaiser should be. I see no issues there. And plus, you're taking him for his leadership. He's a standout leader. It's what you need for a linebacker. He will find his way onto a roster that way. He'll probably do a whole load of special teams as well. Carlton goes, question, is there a guard we can pick at 101 to start next year? Ooh, is there a guard we can pick at 101 to start next
101.
year? So what are we? We're in day two comp territory there. Oh my God,
Mm,
who do I like at guard? Um, I need to get my. I've got my books up here. I
I
need to
mean, it
get my.
feels like you're going like Dollart and Cooper or
Yeah, but he's. I don't like moving tackles inwards for their first year.
who's the other one? Is it Taylor? Taylor? Who's the other one?
Oh, it's Tate Ratledge is in this draft, isn't it? Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
I'll Tate Ratledge is there.
I've seen him
Another
mocked to
name.
us.
Another name I will put in there who you'll like, who might be there. Luke Kandra, the Cincy right guard. I really like Luke Kandra. I think he's going to be in that territory where you could get Luke Kandra and you could possibly plug and play him in the first year. And again, he's vastly experienced. And I like guys who've played at their positions. And oh, who else have we got in there? Willie Lampkin is in that territory. I don't know whether we go for the undersized guy. Willie's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, you either love him or you
He's
hate him.
he's a monster. He's a mini monster. I think he fits our profile perfectly, but oh, I don't know. But yeah, I think Luke Kandra will be my guy there. But saying that, I don't know what Jackson Slater's ceiling is. I need to watch him a bit more. But if Jackson Slater's a potential day two guy, what I've seen from the Sac State man, he fits the violent "I'm going to run you over" method that our offensive line runs through. I honestly I can't say how impressed I was with him over this week just gone. So yeah, I think Luke Kandra will be the guy there for me. Any other names you can think in that area for guard? I'm just trying to think. A lot of my interior guys are late. I've been picking late guys up for this year. Like Clay Webb, I bring him in late on. What else would I use? Yeah. No, I'm gonna screw it. I'm gonna stick with Luke Kandra. I think he'd be the guy to take there. Um, I like that. Do you guys know anything about Arkansas wide receiver Andrew Armstrong as a late round X receiver pick? I would have known more about him if KJ Jefferson would have stayed there a little bit longer. So in the first year they were together, he was absolute monster because that was after Traylon Burks left Arkansas. He was the guy who stepped up in his place. He's been he's been a good receiver for them. He's done well with Taylor Green this year. Um, he's what is he 6'4", 202 pounds. So would you say it's a decent size? Maybe you want him to put on 10 more pounds or so.
Yeah, a
I
bit light,
would.
but well built.
Yeah, He's a good run block. He's a good run blocker. Obviously, Arkansas love to run the ball. Well, I mean, he started off at if I remember rightly, he was a small school. He was a small school guy. He started off. Oh, did he start at Texas A&M Commerce? I think he started off at Texas A&M Commerce because I really remember. But as this year, he's had 1,000 yards year, 1,140 yards, just the one touchdown. Um, so obviously, you don't in terms of red zone usage, they don't use him a lot. In terms of getting down the field, they use him a hell of a lot. Yes, he was a Texas A&M Commerce guy. 1,020 yards and 13 touchdowns in his season there, but nearly 2,000 yards and six tutties in his last 2 years. As a late round one, potentially. I've not seen that much about him, but I'm just completely enamored with Ricky White this year, and I want to draft Ricky White. Yeah. Again, what anyone ever will say, there is no more perfect receiver for the Lions in the draft this year than Ricky White. And I will die on that hill already at this point. I think he's absolutely tremendous. So, but Armstrong could be one to watch out for. We'll see. But he'll be a day three pick, I would imagine. Anything else there? Carlton goes Luke Kandra. Yes, it was Luke Kandra. Dylan Fairchild he's mentioned as well. Is he the other Georgia guard?
He is, yeah.
I'm about to say they've had a few guys declare this year, haven't they? I wouldn't be able. I've not scouted them very well, so as of yet, so I'm not sure as starters, but certainly Luke Kandra would be the guy I'd put in there straight away. If there's anything else you want to ask us before we get out of here, please let us know. I'll message Matt in a moment and just let him know we're about done. I've not been in Twitch this evening, so I need to just have a look, make sure I've not missed anything in there. Lacey Ball next. Is there anything else other college-wise you want to mention this week, Ryan? Anything we've forgotten? Anything you want to mention about?
No, I'm just curious to see when the combine invites go out. I imagine it's only in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Combine's about the same time as the Legacy Bowl. I think it's the same week. The Legacy Bowl is the week after next. So we're talking about 2 weeks to the combine at this point now. I mean, just quick, is there anyone early doors who you want to have a great combine, who you think needs a great combine, who will benefit most from the combine? Who just 27th of February it starts. So yeah, we're 3 weeks away actually, give or take.
Who needs to do really well at the combine?
I mean, for me, it's kind of a general answer where it's small school guys. You'll want to. I mean, combine. You talk at the top, Travis Hunter. Where are they going to play him? How are they going to drill him?
I think Trey Harris needs a good combine if he wants to go in the first round.
Oh, the Ole Miss
I
receiver.
feel like currently, I feel like he's going to get snubbed.
Hmm.
Good combine, I think he locks up first round.
Oh, really? I've not seen him in many so far.
Yeah, I think he's a first round wide receiver. I'd
I can
take him
see
over
it.
Luther Burden.
What? Oh, I love Luther. If the Lions were picking in the teens, then Luther would be in any conversations I'd be having about this. But he's not, and it's not technically a position of need. So, yeah, no, nothing on Twitch there. Marmarker goes, I've liked the details today, guys, although so many names sort of leave me glazed. Yeah, I apologize, Marmarker. That's the only thing with these. There's a lot of names involved. We try and keep it simple, but we want to put the names out there. What we're gonna do, I think what we'll do for something going forward, we'll do our list of me and Ryan will do our lists of hidden gems and stuff, and we'll rule it down a little bit so that you can give you a few less names to have to siphon through. I know I'm doing that at the minute, so we'll do our because we always do our top five at every position list. We'll do our draft diamonds, our draft gems as well, and we'll try and reduce it. But as you say, if you feel overwhelmed, if there's any players you want to know about, just let us know. We'll do some more deep stuff for you. As I say, hopefully soon I'm going to start doing video reviews for guys anyhow. So you'll be able to access those. I'm not sure how yet, but we'll be doing individual reviews for players, so we can make it a lot easier for you. Brent goes, go Army, go Blue, great show, guys. Cotton goes, thanks, guys, lots of useful, informed stuff. I appreciate you all. Matt is here. Looks like we are about done for the day. Marmarker goes, go Gophers, go Bison. And then he goes, sounds great. Figure names narrow down as we go, not a problem. Yeah, they will. We'll get there. We'll pick our favorites and we'll narrow the lists down, so we'll get to it all. In terms of next shows, Main Lions podcast will be back on Monday. We'll just be doing a review of the Boring Bowl, or sorry, Super Bowl as they call it, between the Eagles and the Chiefs. And then me and Ryan will be back. Well, obviously, we'll be back next week at some point, depending on when Gerald's available and that. If we've only got him this week, we may do a special show to get him on. Otherwise, we'll try and do it for next Wednesday, and we'll see where we're at. So anyhow, you'll know about it all. As for what we're doing next after Gerald, I'm not sure. It'll be Legacy Bowl week. Probably start making our lists of prospects and doing that. Therefore, if there's anything you want us to do again, let us know. We can do shows around it. We've got like 12 shows to the draft. We've got plenty of time to fill. So yeah, they're the next shows. Royal Lions UK, you know where to find us all over the internet. Type us in, you'll find us. There we are. And say anything, any comments, anything, leave them behind. We appreciate you all for being with us this evening. Hope you have enjoyed it all. The path to the draft rolls on. The names get narrower. The time gets closer, and soon enough we shall be there. Have a great day, everybody. We shall see you again soon. Just remains me to thank Ryan and to thank Hank, and we shall see you all again very soon. One Pride.
Recording stopped.